Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and my panel, my brave panel, and I are back to talk about The Witcher Season 3, Volume 2. And surprise, surprise, our thoughts haven't overly changed since Volume 1. There is some additional lore-related and Witcher-related current-day news that I do want to start off the show with before we get into the review. And there will be other panelists who are going to be joining us late. Dermy, Horny Owl, and Adam, as well as Ryan from Legion Game, have all confirmed that they're going to be here. They're just going to be late, so we're just going to get the show started and try to keep this shambling mess going until the others arrive. But first, as always, let's introduce the panel with us. Mustang, have you forgiven me? Are you still angry at me for setting you upon this path?
I just killed 6 bots and 4 players, and they're still trying to kill me. I'm sitting here watching them. I'm forgiving you. This is just hilarious.
All right. Well, Anna, how are you doing? It's great to have you back. We always appreciate your unique input when it comes to what we're talking about. So it's great to have you here.
Thank you. What do you want me to say? Yeah, thank you. And hi, Rachel. That's all I can say.
Well, it's great to have you here. And Devil Made Me Do It has returned. Great to have you here as well, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me back to talk about... Oh, Mustang left.
Mustang. I guess he was done.
He unforgave you.
Yeah, unforgave.
But no, happy to be here.
Great. And as we did last time, I know the answer to this, but for the chat, how are you doing, Rachel?
I'm hanging in there. I can't believe I made it through the entire season. Started intact with most of my sanity still here.
Most of it, at least most of it. Well, the way I wanted to start off the show after saying hello to the chat is with the current news. There's a headline circulating on Twitter with a lot of people in our sphere that I think we do need to briefly talk about. But first, as always, hail to JB and Legatus in the chat. Great to have both of you here, and everyone else who's watching on the back end. We'll most likely have people cycling in, both chat-wise and panel-wise as we get started. But this is early on, so great to have you all here. And let's jump into this story. So have any of you guys here on the panel, I know Mustang's seen it because he sent me the article, seen the article from Marca about the state of the Witcher franchise?
Yeah, how to cook unicorns.
Okay, no, it's not time to talk about the unicorns.
Good eating.
Unicorns will come later. The fact that they are putting The Witcher on hold.
Yeah, that they're pausing it. Yeah.
Yes.
Indefinitely or something.
So this article has been going around. They have been sharing just the headline, though. A lot of people in our sphere has been just sharing the headline, and I think we need to do some clarifications here. I've never heard of this site. Are you guys familiar with Marca? I've never heard of this site.
No, I haven't.
Never heard of it. No.
Okay, so it doesn't seem to be a very prominent source, but people are using it as fact. And 90% of this article is speculation. The only thing that is fact in it is, yes, The Witcher Season 4 has delayed its production temporarily, but we already knew that from a while ago. We've known that for a little while because of those strikes. It was set to film in September. The strikes delayed it. As much as I would love to believe they're putting it on hold because of how bad Season 3 is doing, they did it before Volume 2 came out and everything was happening. So as much as I want this to be true, it's an opinion piece that people are looking at a favorable headline and running it with it. So I just wanted to make that clarification real fast.
I got 2 questions because I was busy playing Fortnite when I sent it to you because I figured you could read it because I didn't care anymore. First question is Kathleen Kennedy being fired from The Witcher? Second question is, was Doomcock the source? Second question is more legitimate than the first.
I wanted to be a little bit nicer about that, but that's basically the realm we're in, where Kathleen Kennedy's been fired. I feel like that is an apt comparison you made there, Mustang. As much as we all want this stuff to be true, this isn't a legitimate source, and it's mostly the article just speculating that because everything's bad with The Witcher right now, which is true, they'll probably cancel it. They just didn't frame it as an opinion piece, which it is, and people just saw the great headline of Season 3 could be the finale. Yeah. and they ran with it. I don't blame them for running with it, especially because they're not necessarily in the know as much as us. They're not watching the show. They're not reviewing the show. But I am slightly disappointed that so many people have run with it. So I just want to clarify for the chat. It's not true. Wish it was. It's not true right now.
I could see them using the strike as a way to get out of doing season 4, but yeah, if they don't have a confirmation on that from some source inside that will back it up, I did not know that.
Yep. So I just want to do that clarification. I know we all want this to be true. It would be the greatest ending to all of this is them canceling the show and ending it. But there's actually one other last piece of thing that I want to talk about before we jump into reviewing the show. Is recently one of the producers of the Netflix Witcher show, Tomek something or other, I can't pronounce it, has come out with some additional comments about the plans for The Witcher going forward and his thoughts on the Witcher books as a whole. Now, for reference, this is the same man who said that they would be using the multiverse to lore accurately, that's a lie, explain the recast from Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth. That's an objective lie because the multiverse in the Witcher universe, as Anna can probably attest to, and Mustang as well, is not a many worlds multiverse like it is in superhero content. It's
Exactly.
not alternate. Yeah. It's not parallel dimensions where it's different timelines. It's not different timelines like you'd see in The Flash, for example, or anything Marvel at this point, Doctor Strange. It's completely different realities. That one reality is like where monsters come from. One's the homeworld of the Ain Dune elves. There's the homeworld of the unicorns, where Tyr and Leah is built, and the Ain El and the Wild Hunt live. But there's no way you can use the multiverse to explain the recast.
But he also said something that really pissed me off about the Witcher series was never about Geralt.
That's where I was getting. That's what I was building up to. Is yes, recently that producer said Geralt isn't the main character. Ciri is, and there's been a lot of debate online about this. I tweeted about it, and I had my comments full of people attacking me over it and claiming to know a lot more about the books than me, which there are absolutely people who know more about the books than I do, but their evidence was not very good. My response was, I missed that when I saw the title, The Witcher, and everyone was saying Ciri is The Witcher referenced in the title. I had tons of people telling me that. Well, Anna, would you like to refute that?
Can you hear?
There, Anna?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I'll take this one. So yeah, Ciri is not a Witcher, let alone the Witcher. Yes, she was trained by Witchers. Yes, at some points, people inaccurately in the books call her the Witcheress. And she likes to think of herself as a Witcheress. That is what she's called, is a Witcheress. So if the series were titled after Ciri, it would be called The Witcheress. But she's not even a Witcher, let alone the Witcher. And then, of course, the arguments changed, and these people were like, oh, but the book series isn't always called The Witcher. Well, then I provided a bunch of different copies of the books that said, yes, The Witcher is on The Last Wish, for example. I showed 3 different covers that said The Last Wish, The Witcher, The Last Wish. And it was just this ascending well of people who were just saying, nah, Ciri's the main character. And I think beyond the title character aspect, beyond the show being named after Geralt, Ciri isn't in 2.5 of the books. She's not in The Last Wish. She's not in Season of Storms. And she's not in most of Sword of Destiny. 3 out of the 8 books, Ciri's not even in, or 2.5 out of the 3 books. And then some people were saying, even people who've played the video game should know that Ciri's the main character. Again, she wasn't in 2.5 of the video games. It's insane. So I just wanted to clear the air with that, as well as the other news. No, Ciri is not the Witcher. She's not even a Witcher. And she's not the main character. There's an argument to be made about her being the main character of Tower of the Swallows, and especially Lady of the Lake. But 1, maybe 2 books with an argument do not make a series protagonist. They make an individual protagonist. But Mustang, Anna, and Devil, what are your thoughts on all this?
Well, one thing I wanted to... you got to be careful, because you said they can't explain away Geralt's change through the multiverse. You underestimate them. don't challenge them. They will find a way, some diluted way, that somehow he went there and got a makeover to the...
Yeah, well, in the video games, the Cyberpunk game is canon. Ciri talks about going to Cyberpunk 2077, so maybe Geralt accidentally
Yeah.
there and gets facial
Yeah.
reconstructive surgery.
Oh man, he's gonna come back with the mantis blades, and we're all gonna be
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
gonna
yeah."
wreck people.
No, but there is a point in actually Witcher 3 where she does talk to Geralt when he finds her finally, and she does talk about going into the future, and she's in Cyberpunk basically.
Yep.
And they inserted that. That was kind of cool, but also
I like
Cyberpunk failed so miserably on release. So
It expands the multiverse, and I really like that.
yeah, that was cool. For me, I think it's just sad. It's a sad spectacle where you're, invested into something that you want to relate to this character as Geralt, and now they're like trying to hijack his whole arc and turn it into something because of some agenda or something else, and we can see through it, and it doesn't work. Just does not work. You could have done it you could have given Henry a brilliant out, like a brilliant last episode, just highlight all of his, he's a strong dude, he's really good at sword fighting and doing all his own stunts, do that. Why do you need to completely shut him down and then make it all about Ciri? And then double down later on social media. It's just bizarre, embarrassing, and weird.
Yeah,
I
They are going to use the unicorn to do some kind of magical Ahsoka spell and go through a wormhole and come back and do it that way. Mark my words, it'll be done through a unicorn because they're magical. And as far as Ciri being the main character, have you read the fucking books? You want to argue with it? I'm not playing nice games here. Ciri has a great arc in the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Geralt has a great arc throughout the story. Yennefer, Triss, they all have arcs. But the main character is the Witcher.
Yep.
And if you don't understand that, try playing the games, try reading the books, try understanding that your main character would be that person through the entire series. That is who it's about.
No way.
The main character of Star Wars is R2-D2. He was there through everything. He knew everything. He kept the secret. You people really need to get the hell out of Hollywood's vagina and read a few books. Maybe go back to school and get your GED and understand basic storytelling.
Oh, this is gonna piss you off, Mustang. So two dudes were replying to each other, digging the hole for themselves on Twitter, and they both had insane arguments. So one of the guys is like, when I said, "Hey, it's called The Witcher. It's about The Witcher." She's like, "No, that's Ciri. It's about Ciri." Then I proved it's not Ciri. It's like, well, it doesn't actually matter because the title The Witcher for the series is a marketing one and not an artistic.
First of all, Chad,
Autistic is pretty accurate.
Can you actually verify that one of them was a dude? Because I saw the argument.
I didn't verify. I'm just using dude.
Okay.
But yeah, and that's all he would say is it's not supposed to be The Witcher. And then his friend carried off of that and said, yeah, it never sat right with me that people would just slap The Witcher on Andre's books. It's like, it's called.
Did you read Andre's book? Did you read Andre's title? Andre's titles?
It's called The Witcher. And so, yeah, he said because it's a marketing decision, it doesn't matter. So initially it was, no, it matters because it's about Ciri. Then I proved it wasn't about Ciri. And he's like, marketing. It's marketing, not artistic. Every
Marketing
title
said the Starship's hotel should be great. Marketing didn't understand it'd be closed in 18 months.
But every single title ever created has taken marketing into account. So by that logic, no title matters, and you can just make up whatever narrative you want from a title. It's nonsense, utter and complete nonsense.
And one of those titles was the name of the first episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which
The Witcher.
was great marketing. What was it again? Jed, Rachel, was it you lose something and you get punched in the face or something?
Everybody has a play until you get punched in the face.
Yeah, that's great marketing. right there.
Yeah, incredible marketing. But throughout all this, what are your thoughts on this, Rachel?
Oh god.
Yeah, she's been seeing me fight with these dudes on Twitter for the last 2 days. It's been fun.
I've actually seen them commenting on a few other things, like the tweet that was shared out earlier about I think it was about the title. I don't know. We were looking at that earlier, and I saw them commenting about that too, with pretty much the same arguments. Like the whole thing of marketing versus artistic design. Why do they have to be separate in the first place? Why can't an artistically designed name also be good for marketing? Like I really do not understand that argument whatsoever. And no, Ciri is not a Witcher. She is certainly not the Witcher, but they just can't wrap their heads around it. And I think it was Lady G made this point that I really agree with, that people weren't upset with the whole like Geralt is the Witcher until after Henry said he's leaving. And then it sounded like Ciri is the Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
But like everyone was on board with like, yeah, Henry is Geralt. Geralt is the Witcher. That makes total sense. But as soon as Henry announces he's leaving, suddenly it's no, the big strong woman Ciri is the Witcher. It's like, wow. You should have said that from the beginning. Maybe you'd hold a little bit more water with that argument.
Well, from your perspective, Anna, you've definitely known these books longer than anyone, including myself, and you have the backing of Polish mythology. Would you say you're also offended that people slapped on the name
Slavic, not just Slavic.
Excuse me, yes, Slavic. Are you offended that they slapped on the title of the series to the series?
What?
That's what the guy said.
Yeah, what?
They slapped on the title of The Witcher to Andre's books.
I was always, like I told you before, I think in the review of Volume 1, I was always skeptical. Like, I never wanted to see this because I thought that the last company that would do it justice would be Netflix, especially during COVID. And so I was really extremely skeptical. And then I think that things like this, one of the things that they did do is they did involve a lot of Polish, so like Slavic, Polish, Russian. So the person who was doing the music was Russian. There was Polish people involved in like production. So that's cool. You know, you're involved, but at the same time, you're kind of under the kind of level of management where you don't you're told what to do. You're under this corporate. You don't have that fresh perspective where you can just go in and do whatever. And because it's Netflix, and so you're confined in this space. And to me, like the more the series continued on, like I was so excited for season 2, and I thought the first episode was brilliant. I thought, oh my God, we're going back to like the actual, you know, the lore, the books. But it's just that confinement of Netflix, like putting yourself in that box. And those people are not willing to, who are in charge, are not willing to go outside of that box and challenge the executives or whoever the hell is in charge.
Well, speaking of people who are in boxes, or more accurately, closets, we have an individual in the back room that Anna has been fighting with a little bit, and it's been hilarious. Welcome, the Unicorn Slayer, Dermy Wormy himself. How you doing?
Oh my God,
friend?
You look beautiful, dude.
Oh, I know.
I don't compliment him.
Don't encourage him.
Yeah.
No, encourage me more. I love this.
Dermy, you need a corn. You need a unicorn. You need a horn.
No, I don't. I don't need a unicorn coming out of my head. I just need to kill one and take its power.
Well,
like we should have done with a little unicorn.
You need to stay 1,000 feet away from schools.
That too.
Wow.
Well,
I told you not to say that publicly. Huh?
Speaking of unicorns and Dermy, I feel like this is a good in-between talk with what Mustang said earlier, that unicorns are just magical, can change people's features. They definitely had that unicorn's balls appearing and disappearing at random, so seemed pretty interesting.
Wait, why am I the one
foreshadowing for the change in Geralt is that the unicorn's ball is disappearing. That's how we're gonna get to it. That's the foreshadowing.
So Geralt's balls disappear and he becomes Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Rachel, did you even like when you were? I didn't even notice this. Did you
What?
even like what? What are they talking about? Why are they like focused on the horse's balls? What?
No,
Unicorn balls?
Because
I was
Adam
looking at
was.
the unicorn. I was like, oh my god, finally something true to the book. And they're all looking at the fucking balls. What?
Because Adam brought it up.
We only
Adam was
noticed it
mesmerized
until
by it.
after the guys started obsessing over
They
it.
were massive
Exactly.
in your face. And what made it even funnier is in the few shots where the unicorns was lying down, it no longer had balls.
So what do you expect it to do? Talk?
That's what I'm. What happened?
Well,
What
well,
happened?
You're supposed to focus on the story, not the balls.
that I think
What
is
was the
wrong
story?
too.
Netflix is what happens to the
Yeah,
balls.
what story? I think that's wrong too, because do horses even lay down? I thought they either sleep standing up or they like kneel
Well,
onto
they'll lay
their
down.
They
but
do
that lay down fully like that, where their
Yeah.
head's on the ground.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
horses
Yeah,
will
they
lay
can
down,
sleep on
cows
the
you tip
ground.
over.
Yes.
I thought they didn't do it because stuff will get in their ears, so it's like they.
No, horses will lay
it's
down.
like
How do
cows
you
will
think they
sleep
give
standing
birth?
Well, there's a difference between laying down to give birth and sleeping.
It
Well,
is
just
an injured unicorn who's dying.
Yeah,
That's
they'll
fair
lay
enough.
down.
So I don't think the chat or people who have not seen Volume 2 know what we're talking about.
It's so
You
Don't
don't-
see
they
it.
don't
You
want
don't
to.
want to know. You
Yeah.
just go with us.
There's nothing there. There's a fight. There's a series of fights in the episode fucking 7, 6, whatever.
6.
6. Then it's Siri walking with a tiny horse that deserved death for a whole episode and nothing really happens. And then the last episode is nothing really happens and Geralt gets cucked. That's the summary of it all.
It's a very apt summary.
No, the horse did not deserve death.
Deserved death.
No, it did not. Just because you're hungry does not mean the horse deserved death.
Yeah, because I'm hungry, a lot of things
then
deserve
it wouldn't
death.
have to be on the show anymore.
True.
No,
That's what
Exactly.
it's supposed to be.
See, Rachel's using her brain here. If it died, it wouldn't have been there. I would never have saw it. I would have never wanted to eat it.
It's
and
a
take its powers
magical
for myself.
creature. Why would it?
So?
Like it's
I want to
And
eat
it
a
would make
dragon,
magical
too.
steaks.
Yeah.
All right, because we're having this
did those exist? I'm sorry. Did you point me in the right direction?
Your horns are bacon.
It's
Bacon.
true. Bacon in the horn. Well, JB actually asked an important question that I think we should all answer, starting with Dermy because he's the gayest one. Balls or no balls, Ricada style?
Oh.
Clearly
Ricada
balls. It was
style.
proven in the show.
No, in this case, do you know what the question's referring to?
Too much.
Do I need to explain it? Here, I'll
No,
explain
no,
it.
you don't.
Yeah,
No,
I
please
don't want
don't
to.
do
You
this.
go for it.
Okay, so
Oh.
Mustang, do you know what a futanari is?
I don't.
Okay,
gonna go
Anna, I
pray.
hate to do this to you. I actually kind of do hate to do this to you. So a
Anna, cover
futanari
your ears. You're innocent.
is a Japanese lady who is very well endowed at both the top end and in the crotch.
It's a
Girl
chick
with a
who has it.
penis.
Yes, a very
All right.
attractive chick with a dick. Is
Okay.
there balls there or no balls?
Of course,
On
there's
your
balls. If
futanari.
you have a dick, you have balls.
Unless you're an
So-
Enoch.
Okay. I'm balls for me.
So what's the
Balls
point?
for we gotta clip that. Dermy's balls for you.
I mean, I'm not the straightest guy here, but
Clip it.
It's
Just wrote a book
essentially-
about it.
the dick comes out magically. Your vagina could still be there. The dick's there. So is there balls there or not balls? That becomes the question. It's all gay around, so it just depends on how.
But
gay
we're
are you.
talking
No
about
balls
a
is super gay.
horse, a magical
Yeah.
unicorn. So
Yeah,
what
so
does that have to do with them?
Because futanari are unicorns? I don't fucking know. JB brought up the
that's
question
like you're the one wearing a weird wig, dude. Like, what the fuck?
because I don't really give a shit. I know, so I'm good.
Jed, I think I'm always gonna be little horse, like team little horse.
Oh, little horse is great.
Whether it's balls or no balls, I don't care. It's not the point.
But there were balls. We saw the balls.
But then we didn't see the balls. The balls disappeared. Why are we
That's true.
focusing on the balls? And why isn't Adam here to help us? with
I
this?
was
He
Because
didn't
the balls
set up.
went in the Dermy, the balls went in the prison wallet. Same place her sword kept going. I broke Dermy. Blinked twice.
I was broken when Anna said, "I'm team little horse, balls or no balls."
Best clip so far.
That's getting clipped.
Hey, size doesn't matter for her.
Then you have a chance, Dermy.
I have no chance. I have zero chance with Anna. Let's get this out of here. I have zero chance.
Ball busters.
That's what I was thinking. When did this become ball buster?
Oh my God, Jed's going red. Look at his face. He's not even
he hasn't
drinking
got
hot
plaid
sauce.
yet.
Return of Red Jed.
Get some hot
even
sauce
drunk.
in him. Let him go plaid. Right now's the perfect time.
How is it that I can step on a stream and just derail it instantly?
You
I
only
know,
came in with
we
a
were
wig
doing
on,
so
dude.
good.
All right. If this tells you how much we want to talk about the show, because we're 25 minutes in and we barely mentioned a thing that happened.
Hey, Dermy. Rocky
I
Mountain,
summarized it.
Corn balls.
Dermy.
Show.
Rocky Mountain
What?
oysters, keto or non-keto?
I actually think they're keto. Depends. Are you are they breaded or not breaded? Why are we talking
Breaded
about
with
this on a
onions.
witch's stream?
Unbreaded.
You're going to suck some balls that are not breaded.
Unbreaded.
On paper? Wait, no. Touchdown. On paper?
Unbreaded.
All right, let's start with talking about episode 6. Everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face, which is the episode covering the coup at Thwarted, which is supposed to be one of the most action-packed part of the books thus far. They hyped it up as the most action part of the series thus far, and what everything's been building towards. Everything. Every plot line, and they said that was the perfect place to transition Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth. It was a resolution of everything. But for the book readers on this panel, I don't see the coup at Thwarted as a resolution to anything, but rather the inciting incident of the rest of the story. Those are kind of opposite things, but I'd love to get Anna and Mustang Slots as their book readers.
Hold on. Did you say there was something book accurate in that episode?
They called the island Thwarted.
You're mute.
I have no recollection of that episode.
I'm still trying to
I
figure out
honestly
the
don't.
book.
All I remember is a whole bunch of people just seeing lions and fighting, and that's it. Like, I don't remember anything significant you can
No.
raise.
Wait, was that the one where the dwarf got the kill shot?
No, there's
What
no
dwarf?
dwarf.
Wasn't there a little dwarf that came in at the end and got a kill shot on somebody?
That was like
No, that was the other battle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the boogie's so bad I can't keep my dwarfs apart.
There's no dwarfs except for that one.
No. What happened in 6 was the coup. Geralt gets his ass handed to him. Ciri, I guess, blows up a tower that has a monolith, and then leader lady that taught
what happened?
for everything decided to genocide a bunch of people.
Oh, that's the one where they went running so far from the castle. We were trying to figure out how
Yeah.
many miles
Yes.
they were.
Going
Okay.
everywhere without teleporting, and both
Okay, that
Jennifer
is-
and Ciri
I- I've read the books. It doesn't even. No, that's not the coup.
No, there's no resemblance.
No,
It is so small in compared to how they were trying to put it. It seems like if they were trying to hype that up, it was such a small battle. I mean,
Just people lining up in one room.
yeah, they were in a large room, but still, it was one room of people throwing shit back and forth. Yeah, that's not a battle. That's not what. It just was
Wait,
so underwhelming.
when the Scoia'tael came in, right? Was that
Yes.
the episode we're talking about? The punch in
Yeah.
the face?
Yeah.
Can we
Yep.
just
The one
stop
with
for a
the-
minute and realize how bad the episode is? We're all trying to remember what actually happened.
I really don't remember.
Why
watched
do I
that
remember
thing
this?
Days ago.
And it's like in Avengers Civil War, like they're facing against each other, and they're like doing this like kapow, and it's like, no, we have a shield, and it like is supposed to look so cool, and it looks so cheesy and so bad that I just
Don't
This show
badmouth
needed more
Civil
boobs.
War. Don't put this on the level of Civil War.
No,
Civil
no,
War is
Civil
good.
War-
This is shit.
The lining up makes sense in Civil War because it's character based. In this one, everyone knows they're going to kill each other. The lining up doesn't make sense in The Witcher. In Civil War, I think it does. But one of the most important things to come out of the battle that we need to talk about is the fucking connecting swords. You guys remember
Oh.
that?
Oh, those were so stupid.
We only
Oh.
saw them once. I wanted to
tips
see more of
touched.
it.
The tips
And
touch.
yeah,
Both wielding it.
Well, was it you who said it?
Oh,
Someone said it this week that said that that's the new definition of docking.
Said it on Twitter.
The worst
Or
part is,
I
is
can
you
see
guys-
somebody
You
on
know,
Twitter
the way they
saying
could have
that.
done it, actually, I thought about this, Jed, because when we were watching it, I was like, what the hell is this? But the way they could have done it is somebody could have wielded some magic or something where they're stuck. So they have to, like they can't break loose from this. They have to do this. But
They would
it's-
need to show that, and it would need to be Nilfgaardians or Scoia'tael, because those are two mages who connect their own swords.
Exactly. So that would have not worked. But yeah, the whole scene was very out of the blue. Why they included it? Like two dudes, like why? What?
You could have killed one of the dudes off, and the other dude could have then taken the sword
Yeah.
and merged it together. They
Yeah,
could have been brothers or
exactly.
something. It could have made sense, but they didn't make it make sense. It just looked ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, Jed, do you have that scene so that you can share with your audience the two guys, one
Do you
sword?
have these-
Two guys.
Sword.
God, that sounds like my Sunday nights.
Why do you do this to yourself, Dermy?
Yeah, what the heck? You can't sit here and get mad at when I tease you and shit if you're gonna bring it on
I
yourself.
don't get mad at you guys. I give you aim.
JB, we will ask Adam when he gets here about breaded. He is the chef,
That is a good
He
point.
is indeed the chef.
and he ain't getting out of this.
No, he's the one that brought up the balls. He's the one that was mesmerized by the balls. He pointed it out to us, and then we couldn't quit looking at them.
You know what? When you ask that question, we're talk question about Rocky Mountain oysters. He's gonna be like, "Did Dermy bring up the balls?" That's the first thing he's gonna ask.
He's trying to pawn this off on me. He's the one that did it. It was not me.
He's your daddy. Be nice.
And I'm not saying it. You will not get me to say that phrase.
But yeah, that sword scene was just so weird.
I've
Complete-
got
Like-
to say, everyone made so many dumb decisions.
Well, there was that guy that decided to walk in front of the one lady and then turned to
Turned to
dust.
mist.
Yeah, that was kind of stupid.
I love
You
the look
then
on her
had-
face. It was great.
Well, there's
had-
that. Go ahead.
Geralt was able to sense that there was the mage there with his necklace, even though the mage isn't a monster.
It's true.
No, but that's what I said. There's a whole actually in the book you kind of like go back to like Vilgefortz might have been a Witcher.
might have
back in
been.
the day.
a Witcher.
Might have been.
I can
So
say
it's
it possible because that was the original intention for Witchers is to be sorcerers. That's what they were designed to be, warrior sorcerers, but their magic abilities were far too stunted. So the initial experiments were deemed a failure because their magical abilities.
And it would have been an interesting dynamic between the two of them if they could have developed it. Like, like I am like you, but I don't want to be anything like you. And like having that dynamic between those two characters and having that epic fight, just like again in Civil War with Captain America and Iron Man, like that could have been done so well, and they completely.
Well, and every single character is an idiot in this. One of my favorite references to this is at a certain point, Triss and a few other characters join the fight in the Great Hall or whatever. They blow open a door to join the fight. And then Triss gets shot through this open doorway by one of the Scoia'tael. And instead of, grabbing her, getting her out of the line of fire, getting her somewhere safe, her and Istra just kind of sit there in the doorway and try to work on the injury. She's standing where she got shot. They can get shot again, and they just ignore it. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Even in other episodes, like Geralt's about to go into a final fight with 20 Nilfgaardians, hands his sword off for no reason. Geralt just stands there and lets Ciri fight Cahir for no reason. Yennefer just stands there and lets Ciri fight Ryans for no reason, except girl power. which is a lot of that, especially in the episode 7. But this is the moment I got it up here for the chat. So this is what we're referring to, chat, when we say two dudes lock swords. So this is
Two dwarves.
Two dwarves. This is Kahir fighting with two mages simultaneously, and this is what they decide to do. So one of them catches a sword. These guys look like brothers or something. And they roll towards each other, connect their hilts, and this looks like a pre-planned thing. These hilts fit together, if you know what I mean. And then they do this, chat. If it was at this point and then they passed it off to one dude and one dude was wielding a double-edged sword, I think it would have been cheesy how it happened, but it would at least be strategically viable. But then they decided to follow it up with this glorious thing, chat. They both hang on to it, and they're fighting him like that. And that's all we see for the most part. And later on, we see Kahir take them out. But it's just those two strokes, really.
So even from like a filmmaking point of view, right? You focus in on this one moment, which is supposed to like be significant, and then you don't even follow through. So you're supposed to have this fight with Kahir, who I guess was supposed to show that he can go against two dudes and is massive, like a good warrior, and because he is. But you don't even follow through with it. You just switch to something else.
Yep. Well, Kahir can take two dudes on at once.
And here's the thing. On the practical side, this is fucking retarded. He's already fighting both the brothers separately. And he's, keeping up, essentially putting them to shame. What are you going to do when you connect your swords? You're making it even easier for him to kind of keep you off balance, because when there's two separate people, one can try to get around behind him and, thrust at different parts of your body. When the swords are connected like that's all coming from the front, it's even easier to deflect those things and stuff. You're not giving him a harder fight here. So it's even stupider.
All of that.
Why? Devil was making a good point.
He was making a good point. That's one of the only good points that is clip-worthy so far.
Oh, why are you clipping good points? Clip the bad points. Clip the gay shit.
We're not ballbusters.
Oh,
okay, this whole thing reminds me of two guys in or one guy leaves. Only in this case, it's got a lot
God,
of
this coming off of me saying clip the gay shit and ballbusters and saying two guys in or one guy leaves does not fix anything.
It's like a gay version of Thunderdome.
Yes.
I think that whole sequence could have been, if you would have actually had heart and understood the books and understood the material and lore, you would have done it. It's just basic bullshit. You can tell. It's just, let's do it, make some money, no talent, and nothing against the actors. Like, nothing against them. They're just being directed, whoever's directing, but like it's just bad writing and bad production.
You can see it just in Geralt's face through the whole show. He just doesn't care anymore. He's just delivering a line, moving on, delivering a line, moving on. Yeah. The only time he showed any depth made no sense, and that was when he was like talking to Yennefer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and even then it was like
I would agree with Anna that I don't have anything against these individual actors, and I think a lot of them could have been good in the roles with the good script and showrunner who cared. Like Kahir, the actor for Kahir, he's shown a decent amount of range over the 3 seasons. I think he would make a good Kahir, but we should barely have seen him up to this point, up until the coup of Thanos, let alone him being a main character. And then the next book, the next season, is when we really get introduced to him fully, where he really becomes a realized character more than a phantom and someone that Ciri fights in the coup. And same with a lot of the others. Yennefer and Ciri's actresses are the ones that I say are definitely the most wrong for their roles. But most of the peripheral characters, beyond, of course, the ones that are like Fringilla, she's terrible. Fringilla's awful. But a lot of them could have been good with good material. Francesca, I think, could have been good if she weren't so aggressive.
Well, yeah, it is just the horrible writing. I don't think there's anybody on this panel right here who couldn't write a better scene instantaneously than what we're getting right here. Just off the top of my head, I could say, okay, when the brother rolls out of the way of the sword, when he pulls the sword back and rolls out of the way, his brother helps him up. They both grab their sword and, cup between their hands and split it. So now he's dealing with 4 swords because they've split their swords. Now that's like, okay, now it's something because now he has to block 4 swords at one time. That's a little different. But this is what they came up with. These people who get $100,000 a year probably to write this kind of stuff. And it took me 2 seconds to think of something better.
Well, let's be real. Lauren
It's
Histridge
ridiculous.
runs off of cup noodles all day long. If she's getting paid $100,000 for this shit, what the fuck's wrong with Netflix?
It is kind of why I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for most of the writers on strike, because this is what they're giving us. 9 times out of 10, this is what Hollywood's giving us writing wise. So, not a whole lot of sympathy. You get paid what you're worth, and if you're worth shit, $300 worth of royalty for She-Hulk.
I'm going to tell you right now what this is. I'm trying to think of anywhere in the books where anybody has described fighting this way. 2 brothers, anything. There's nothing.
Nothing.
All I could think of is she's looking at this going, let's have good sword fight, and what can we do to have good sword fight that is new? We'll have 2 brothers fight. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why? And nobody would ever do that in any kind of fighting, because right here, he's opened in multiple shots.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys they've got 1 hand each, and one of them's an inside hand that can't do nothing. So you've got one with an outside hand that's able to block. The guy's going to kill him. It's over.
Yeah, the Mustang, it's not about that. It's about characterizing the here.
You know what I actually think it's about is, hey, we can dual
taking
wield.
him, and not because later on we get to a point where his whole character is nothing like it is because of his fight with Siri, and she just deconstructs him.
But you're
in that
talking
scene.
books.
Fight with Siri.
Even the fight we saw here that was supposed to be the book fight was boring.
It was so boring. The wizards, sorcerers, and sorceresses mages have an infinite amount of spells. You could come up with some really creative stuff. And the 2 spells, mostly just 2 spells we get for the entire thing is push and shield, force push, oh, shield, force push, oh, shield. That's 99% of the spells we see from these people.
And then we see lightning force.
Instead of just pushing, they mix it up and they move it from the left to the right, like if they grab someone else's sword and slash it against someone's throat. That's the big difference we get. And the only other thing is when Stregobor dies. And I want to mention that moment briefly because I've been seeing that a lot in the comments and on Twitter, is even people who despise the show like us find that as the one moment that they enjoy. And I want to get your guys' perspective on that because I don't get it, because I'm more focused on the character stuff, because Stregobor, he should have a little bit different focus. The last time we saw him, he was getting arrested and imprisoned by these mages that he knows and has worked with for a long time. But when elves show up, he's just like, you know what? Should I go after the people who put me in prison and have ruined my life? Or these random elves? You know what? I'm just uber racist, so I'm going to kill them. But I want to see if anybody else was more affected by the spectacle, perhaps, of seeing the explosion, seeing him be badass. And that
made no sense. I didn't care about it.
Oh, it made no sense, but I still liked the scene because I liked his comments. That was about the only reason I liked that moment, because I thought it was funny.
You know, this is the second major franchise.
Of course you did. You're a unicorn slayer.
That's
find
right.
anything funny.
Yeah. This is the second major franchise that I can think of that a big production company doing a series has almost completely taken all the magic out of. Game of Thrones, they took almost all the magic out of that. They've taken almost all the magic out of this one. Why aren't you putting magic in? Do you realize that generated 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s? People went to these shows for the magic?
Well, they had magic in Game of Thrones, and this is about The Witcher, not Game of Thrones, but they never explained it. Like, it was there, but it wasn't there.
I think Mustang. I think you're talking about the enjoyment factor of magic, or are you talking about like magic spells magic?
They literally took the magic that should be in both of them. They pretty much got rid of. There's so much in Game of Thrones that they didn't go into.
Yes, that is true. But also, like, Game of Thrones is a good point. This is all Netflix wanted with The Witcher. They wanted Game of Thrones. Yes. That's why these fights exist.
Yep.
Game of Thrones, up to a certain point, like, their fights were good. And then they died. I actually like the Battle of the Bastards, but I can see the reason.
I do too. I thought that was a great battle. Yeah.
I can understand why people don't like it. I thought it was the last decent one. No, Hearthome, because Hearthome was after.
Hearthome was great.
Hearthome was great.
Hearthome.
Well,
but they want those fights in these shows, but they don't have the build up. They don't have the gravitas, and
Yeah.
also at least in those fights, like people made sense when they did something. They don't have that here.
Well,
Yeah.
and you bring up a great point is that they're trying so hard to replicate the success of, at least early success of Game of Thrones, and a lot more than just the battle sequences. I mean, this reminds me a lot of the fight at Winterfell, where it's shot to hell and back dark wise. There's no reason the scene should be dark because it's light outside and there's no roof on this room that they're in. But also the political stuff and the ensemble cast. The Witcher, I would not classify as an ensemble cast. I think of ensemble cast as needing like 7 main characters or something like that. I don't know if there's an actual definition, but it's a large cast. The Witcher, I think of as 3, maybe 4 main characters. 4, yeah, I counting Dandelion. So that I wouldn't classify as an ensemble cast, but that's what they want. That's why Tisaya, who should only have been in this season, was in all 3, and it's a massive role. That's why Fringilla, who shouldn't be even introduced until the next book, really, the next season, has been in the entire thing. That's why Kahir, who we should barely have seen up until this episode, has been in the entire show. They just want to build up a massive ensemble cast. And also without all the political stuff, not necessarily, but when I'm saying political in this context right now, I'm not meaning modern politics. I mean like the manipulation aspect, people talking to each other, scheming. And that's what Yennefer has been doing most of this season is political scheming. And she's done that since the beginning. All the Aretusa stuff is very heavily in-universe politics. And that's not necessarily the case in the Witcher books. Yes, they reference the larger movements of empires and kingdoms and how, like, at the beginning of this book, how Temeria is planning for the invasion of Nilfgaard with boats, and then there's some Redanian stuff. And there's politics are always on the periphery when it comes to
Jed, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like, you know all of this. People watching this are not going to get any sense of this. It's you knowing the lore and you knowing the source material. They are not explaining any of this.
No, they're
It's
not.
not even
Here's
like
a big one for you.
What?
Netflix has The Last Kingdom. The Witcher and The Last Kingdom are more identical than The Witcher and anything Game of Thrones. If they would have simply looked and said, this is how The Last Kingdom has made such a giant impact for our company, why aren't you doing it with The Witcher that is almost identically set up, not in story or anything to that degree, but in characters and how they're moved around?
The Last Kingdom is brilliant. I watched all of it and then canceled it.
What wasn't The Last Kingdom? It started on terrestrial television, then moved over to streaming. So that's probably why The Last Kingdom is at least decent, and The Witcher is shit because it had a crew to begin with. That's why, like Longmire, final season of Longmire is good because they ended up licensing it out and getting a whole different crew to make it, not just Netflix. Netflix just paid for it.
My point with all that, Anna, beyond the book aspect, was just saying that's not what the books were. They wanted Game of Thrones. They didn't want the books. And when you mentioned if you didn't know what was going on in the books, you'd be very confused. Even knowing the books, you're confused as hell. But I was talking to Dermy when we were watching the episode, at the end of this episode, and even at the end of the season. Would you have any idea that Nilfgaard has invaded the north, have conquered Lyria and Vengerberg, and are burning and pillaging across the land?
I don't know half these places. I've played the games. I haven't read the books.
That's deep lore stuff. I just mean the invasion, just that they invaded.
Even if you played the games, you know more than the average person that is not. You know, and you go into it and it's like, what the fuck is going on? I don't even know what's happening.
Have we even talked about the invasion in any of the other seasons except for when it originally happened, or did we just forget there was an invasion?
Nope.
I forget that there was an invasion.
When the person who is the architect of all of this is portrayed as somebody who's your average Joe with a beard, looks like Dermy.
Amir, I hate Amir so much.
Amir was so good in other things. My God, he's got such a good range. See him in Marco Polo. God, he was good.
Vilgefortz, yeah. Vilgefortz is...
Yeah, Vilgefortz.
But
I can't even keep my character straight, and I know the books, this is how bad this show is. It doesn't even do any of them justice where you would remember, oh yeah, that's who this is supposed to be.
Well, just there's a perfect moment at the beginning of this episode on just how stupid some of the stuff is, though. they capture Geralt outside his room and leave Triss and then come back for Triss. Not Triss,
Yeah.
Yennefer. God fucking damn.
Yennefer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're specifically looking for Yennefer. They're talking about Yennefer. They want to capture Yennefer, and they know she's in this room, but they're just like, let's walk away now. At least in the books, Geralt got away from the room before encountering Dijkstra. He actually encounters Kira first in the books, and Radcliffe actually kills Lydia instead of Yennefer.
Kira falls on him, right? From the tower.
That's later. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's after he gets back to Garstang. So Dijkstra takes him out of the palace at this point because Dijkstra wants him as far away as possible. And then Geralt escapes, breaks Dijkstra's legs, and then goes back to the palace, and that's when Kira falls on him. But in this scene, Kira is using brass knuckles and is beating up a dude when he walks out. And I think it's Triss who blinds Geralt. Because Triss is
Triss blinds him, yep. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't make any sense with Yennefer being right there when they want her. And it's just so all over the place. In the books, after Geralt leaves that room, Geralt and Yennefer don't see each other for a long time. Books. I'm talking books. Several books. And Yennefer, we hear about her through other people. She goes and gets Ciri, brings her to the room where Tissaia is, and everyone's looking over Vil before it's captured and whatnot. Ciri prophesies about the Nilfgaardian invasion, and we hear about all that. And then Yennefer gets compressed by Francesca into a figurine, but we don't hear about that until the next book. Yennefer just vanishes, basically, from Geralt's perspective. Of course, she has to be in the rest of the season, forming the Lodge of Sorceresses at the end. And I don't know how you feel about that. The Lodge of Sorceresses is pretty cool, in my opinion. I don't know if you remember how they're impactful on the story, but the Lodge
again, you could have done this with all of these different characters. It doesn't, like, what did I watch the other day? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Even though there are certain things about it I didn't like, but you can take characters and you can give them their own kind of, like, where we can relate to somebody. Like, whether it's Nebula, whether, of course, Rocket, Raccoon is the most important in that whole thing, but everybody's their own entity. Here, they're just cardboard cutouts. I don't care about any of them. None of them. But they have their own stories. They have their own characters. Here, it's like, I'm diverse. I look a certain way. I have my hair a certain way. I talk a certain way, and I'm supposed to care about you? No.
Exactly.
It doesn't work for me.
Because it's a fat black woman. That's why you should care.
That's why I care more about the unicorn than anybody else. Like, the unicorn to me is the most relatable.
Is it sad that you're accurate there and I still want to kill and eat the unicorn?
Yeah, I know. That's why.
Well, since
it was a good character.
As good as it got. But since we're talking about her, I want to briefly talk about Fringilla from both characterization and just plain logic standpoint. So for a reminder, in Volume 1, let's go all the way back to Season 2. Season 2, she does some trickery with Cahir, betrays people for her own ends. Emir finds out about it and throws them both in prison. Then Season 3, we find her in prison as the Emperor's wine taster. I want to point that out. They never say the court's wine taster. If they'd said the court's, we'd be fine. But they specifically, on 3, I believe, separate occasions, say the Emperor in specific, the Emperor's wine taster. And there's, 5, 7 of these wine tasters, and they're all perpetually drunk and dying? How much does Emir drink? I'm sure they meant the court, but that's bad writing, because they specifically pointed out that it was Emperor, not empire or court.
Question, Jed, so I can honestly answer this. About how many weeks into this torture were they? So I know how much they were drinking?
There's no way to know the timeline, but from what we can tell, it's probably been at least 5 months.
Even
they
more
were
than
more
that.
hammered than Darmy after Wookiee super chats him 100.
Yes. He super chatted me $50 last night.
Did he? Well, and so at that point, she has the dumbest plan in the world. She's
oh my God, Biggles. Are you
Biggles
alive?
come on. Make him come on. He edited it. He has to come on.
He only edited episode 1 of Volume 1. He has not seen the rest of it, so there's no point. But Biggles, if you want to come on, you're welcome.
Don't torture the poor kid.
The poor
Don't-
kid,
don't
he's
do
older
that.
than you.
Don't torture the poor man.
Don't
He'll put
expose
his
him to
feet on the
Dermy.
camera.
Biggles, if you want to rewind to the start of the stream, we actually talked about that news, and it's not actually news. It's an opinion piece that everyone's been sharing.
Oh, that's right. Jed was
Ah.
jerking off at Disney. Do you know they got cameras everywhere?
I was not jerking off at Disney. I can say that very, very confidently.
Wait.
Pirates of the Caribbean
Why
was cool, though.
What-
I went to
1, 2, 3.
I would-
Yeah.
I went to Magic Kingdom for the first time today. Dermy.
Oh.
That's what they're talking about.
Oh. So you're gay now. Okay. That makes sense.
But in talking with Fringilla, let's move on. So yeah, her coworker or some other guy who's a wine tester dies of alcohol poisoning, and she's on the verge of that too. And so somehow she slips out of her chains, gets into his body bag, does something with his body, and gets taken out of the palace to be buried somewhere and escapes.
Oh, we all called it Count of Monte Cristo. They stole it straight from it.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and the bigger problem here is instead of just slipping the handcuffs, I'm sure some people can slip handcuffs. It's a thing. Why didn't she do it sooner if she had the capability? And secondly, those are dimetrillium or I always struggle. It's dimetrum or something like
So
that.
she doesn't have
And
magic.
exactly. They're magic suppressant handcuffs. And I actually want to bring up an interesting point about that I was thinking about in talking with a commenter on my video before we continue with Fringilla. So yes, these handcuffs, this material suppresses the ability of a mage to cast magic. That's what the handcuffs are for. That's all, for the most part, we've seen this material used for. Which is why Tisaya using magic to release the handcuffs makes sense. She's not being withheld. They are not immune to magic. But in the fight at the coup at the end with the Scoia'tael have their arrows made, their arrowheads are made out of the same material, and they're piercing through the shields. Either Tisaya can't undo their handcuffs with magic, or those arrowheads cannot pierce their shields.
Yeah.
That's an inconsistent depiction.
They can suppress magic. It didn't mean they can go right through it.
Exactly. So,
Didn't even
side
think
note
about
there. Side note there. But Fringilla somehow does all that, and then she goes to a tavern, and she's drinking right after nearly dying of alcohol poisoning, which would make sense if she were a voluntary alcoholic. But it was a punishment. It was torture. She begged her guard not to make her drink anymore. She does not want to be drinking. And then she goes and gets drunk. I think that makes perfect sense. And I missed this when I started Volume 2, and I had to go back and check. She does overhear people talking about the existence of the conclave. People are talking, hey, the Northern Mages are gathering for a conclave. That's all she knows at the end of Volume 1. That's all she knows the last time we saw her before this episode.
And then she just magically appears and she's like whispering into people's ears during battle when everybody's shooting and arrows and fighting. She's like, oh, I'm here now. Hey, I'm going to tell you something really important. I was like, where did you just come from? What?
You needed to be strong.
She had to
You
see
need to
either a
be
puff of black
strong.
smoke or a puff of gray smoke. That's all I can think of from the conclave.
If she wanted to go to the conclave, she would have gone to the ball. She wouldn't have appeared in the middle of the night exactly where the Scoia'tael were attacking, join them without them noticing, but somehow not then being okay with it at the same time, sneak in through the same entrance as them and start fighting with them. Because she may hate her uncle. She may want to kill her uncle.
It's like, imagine if I just appeared right now in your room and I just like came up to Rachel and I'm like, hey, Rach, what's up, babe? Are you doing cool? Like, are you okay with this stream? And everybody's like continuing talking. Like, it would be
Blink
like,
twice.
what the fuck?
And real quick,
I'd be more scared. Like, what the fuck?
the Scoia'tael came in by boat, right? In the fog.
Which is insane.
Yeah, which
Okay, what here? They have to have come from ships. Why weren't those ships after the battle start and stuff? Why wouldn't they be firing? Because there is cannons, right? I mean, do they have cannons in this world? I'm not sure.
I don't think
Have
so.
they not got that far?
No.
Not that I'm familiar
Not
with.
that
Okay,
I'm
well
aware
then
of.
never mind. I was gonna say I thought there were cannons. I thought in The Witcher, like you're on a boat and there's cannons, but maybe I'm thinking of another game. I was
We
all
should
like,
still
because
see
I
the-
would be leveling that castle with fire if that's the case,
Yeah.
to distract them.
But
okay,
then they'll
I was
use
wrong.
force lightning on you that only one person has ever been able to do beforehand. And then when done in the books by Yennefer, she needed Ciri's help to do it, but
Triss.
woman vagina power. Oh,
Yeah,
Triss.
Triss needed Yennefer's help, and apparently, according to the World of the Witcher book, I believe is what it's from, this spell can take out a maximum of 5 people.
So not
Oh,
100.
but she can genocide people. Okay,
Yep.
got it.
Yep, and then
So
they have
one of the spells that they did use, because I know you had a problem with that, Jed, was Alzor's Thunder.
That's what we're
Yep,
talking about.
that's-
Yep,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Like
Lady in the Lake.
I had a problem with that too, because first of all, it's never referred to in the books as being that. Like, we all know Alzor was a powerful wizard, sorcerer, but it was never called that. They literally took that from, again, a Gwent card video game.
Revised it, yes. They don't have the rights to that. They were stealing from stuff in the games all the time, like calling Dijkstra Sigismund is a reference to his code name in Witcher 3, Siggy Reuben.
Yeah.
To that. It's insane. It's utterly and completely insane, but it is briefly, Anna mentioned at the very, very end, like the last chapter, I believe, of Lady of the Lake, Triss asks Yennefer to help her cast Alzor's Thunder, but it's incredibly difficult, requires precise pronunciation, and only Alzor has ever been able to do it, and it takes out a maximum of 5 people. But yes, the Gwent game is what everybody knows it from.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be here. Tissaia is barely in the fight. After she releases Vilgefort and finds out everything, like the Scoia'tael attack, and she feels like it's her fault, she kind of leaves the story till the next chapter when she does, Minecraft herself. That is accurate. Not the message to Yennefer, not Yennefer being there, but the mere fact that she killed herself in Minecraft is accurate. So we got a little bit. We got a little bit. But
Jeremy, what's happened to you? You're not a unicorn anymore.
No, I was getting tired of playing with the hair. It was itchy.
Oh, yeah.
It was getting in my ears. Yeah.
Well, I want to finish up real fast the conversation with Fringilla, because we talked about how insane it is that she's even there to begin with. But I have a bigger problem with her characterization in this moment, because she hates Amir. That's what she spends the last episode with Francesco, or the second to last episode with Francesca, talking about. She has no desire to help Amir at this point. But she's there helping Amir, and she tells Cahir, it's crazy what you can do when you think for yourself. But she's not thinking for herself. If she were still working for Amir, that's exactly where she would be. If she never betrayed him, if she never disobeyed orders, she would be in the same exact spot she is now. So what is she trying to say? What is the characterization there? I'm lost at any sort of consistent characterization with Fringilla in this episode. It doesn't make sense with Volume 1. It doesn't make sense with Episode 8. It doesn't make sense with any previous episode. It doesn't make sense with the books. Fringilla is just suddenly a different person, suddenly appearing, suddenly saying nonsense, and then leaving.
Yep.
Jed, the entire series, season 1 through now, including BO, does not make sense in their characters in any way, shape, or form. There is no character development. None. You're trying to put something that's in the books and done really well in the books into a show where the showrunner hates the books. I hate to say it, but we all know that we know the books and the games, and we're sitting here trying to compare them to things that were good, and we really should just, I don't even know what we should be doing with this show, because I've said it several times, it's worse than Velma. This thing is just a jumbled hodgepodge of trying to be something that's not Game of Thrones. Everybody needs to stop being Game of Thrones and be their source material so that you can actually be something original and good.
Well, and you bring up an interesting point there, is the reactions to the season, how we are supposed to react to it, because something I've noticed on Twitter, of course, there's the insane diehards who literally, I've seen people whose Twitter handles are Raskier, as in the shipping of Radovid and Yaskier. Like, there's those insane people out there. But a lot of people who have been liking the show so far, it's like, I've been excited for Volume 2, and then Volume 2 was a giant dumpster fire. There's been memes about that. There's been tweets about that. Even the people who casually like the show, who aren't like us, who don't have extreme opinions and aren't insane, wanting gay sex with Yasuki are insane, they're starting to turn against it. Even like I haven't seen it to this point yet. Of course, there's been people with Volume 1 saying, no Henry Cavill, no show. They're dropping in 60% in viewership. But there are people who liked Volume 1 who despise Volume 2. And I think that's an interesting thing to see. I agree Volume 2 is much worse, but they're still comparatively enough that I want to.
They knew how bad it was.
Nothing happened in Volume 2. Nothing. We sat here for 4 hours, almost maybe 3.5 hours. 0 things happened. We could have just skipped it and still been able to talk about it. There was unicorn balls. That was it.
If they would have dropped it as one binge drop like their normal model, everybody would have been just shredding it. They did it in 2 so that you might have something you liked and can counter it was. Oh my God, this is just. The more you think about it, this is what people are going to look at in 20 years and go from now and say, this is what you don't do if you want a successful show.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a complete disaster. The 60% loss in viewership is insane. But I do want to talk about the viewership briefly. Is the Nielsen's came out for the first day of Volume 1's release.
Ooh.
And it got 1.3 billion minutes watched, according to the Nielsen's.
I could see that.
Wow.
That's more than I expected. I'm going to be honest, especially with the 60% drop we know about. That's a lot higher than I expected.
Is that for the first Volume 1?
Just the Volume 1, the day Volume 1 came out.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
I
then
can see
Volume
that.
2?
Volume 2 doesn't come out for another month. Nielsen's are a month behind.
Volume 1, I could see doing it because there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of people wanting to see what's going on because Season 2 wasn't a complete horrible thing. But at the same time, what they did to Blood Origin, I could see the numbers, but I think they were bot numbers.
Yeah, Blood Origin's viewership was way higher than it should have been.
I don't know anybody apart from reviewers who watched that. I did not at all. I watched all of your reviews, but I never watched it. And
Jed ruined Christmas.
I did.
Making us watch Blood Origin.
I'm pretty sure he did, but you ruined my summer with your unicorn hating stuff, Jeremy.
Jed is
He doesn't
the
hate
Grinch.
unicorns.
I don't hate unicorns. I just want to kill them and take their power. Is that
And you have to eat something
me
to
wanting to
take
be
its
all
power.
powerful isn't a bad thing. It doesn't say I hate them.
Yeah, I'm
It says I
sure
admire your
that's
power.
what Ted Bundy thought too. I mean,
He's got a point there.
She does have a point.
It's confirmed. Jeremy is Ted Bundy.
Wait, what?
Ted Bundy for president.
I don't know, but
I'd rather vote devil than Ted Bundy.
Just think about it, Devil. If Bundy was president, Congress would be on the menu.
That's great.
oh my god.
Wrong.
Hey, meat's back on the table, boys.
Jeez. out of all the people, anyone want to eat Mitch McConnell? I don't think so.
Turtle's
I don't
good,
know.
man.
How did we get here?
All right, I've been on an interesting track here for a moment, and
Oh, Grump's here. Hey, Grump.
Hail Grump.
Hey, Grump.
I'm
Wait,
trying
are
to
you
think of-
saying I'm Ted? He's thinking I'm Ted Bundy. What the hell?
Exactly. He just caught it.
Well, I do want to say, speaking of Jeremy being Ted Bundy, I think we have Jeremy's first choice for meat back on the menu because his daddy has arrived. Hail Adam the Renaissance
All right.
nerd.
First of all, Jeremy, I saw you in that goddamn wig. Okay, what the fuck? Secondly, take off the goddamn sunglasses. Take them off.
No.
Take them off. You are not critical drinker.
You know what? You know what?
Yeah, well,
He's gonna
there.
put
That's
me
the truth
on.
right there. Wanted.
Solidarity. Solidarity.
Adam, oyster balls, breaded or not breaded?
Are we talking oysters as in balls?
Is it Rocky
Like
Mountain oyster?
testicles?
Rocky Mountain.
Yeah. How about not at all?
No,
Wait, you've
no.
never ate Rocky Mountain oysters?
No, because I don't put
gay.
balls in my mouth like you do. Okay.
Okay, I guess you're not American.
What? What about putting balls in your mouth as American?
That is a Midwestern tradition. That is country food right
Devil.
there.
Jeremy, what
Devil.
you experience at the truck stop is not American tradition. Okay.
No, that is quite literally American tradition.
You're not American if you don't put balls in
we
your
sell
mouth.
that. Not sell that. We put those out. at
Rachel,
weddings
what
this
is
year.
going on here?
Yeah, this is
don't
Jed
know
wanted me
anymore.
here. Jed wanted me here. He knew this was going to happen.
Jed wanted me here.
Oh,
I
this
don't
is
know
gonna actually
why.
get to
Why
the
you-
next
That's my
episode.
friend.
Guys, we're over an hour in, and we're still talking about episode 6.
Balls.
Hey,
Unicorn
Devil,
balls.
we need to get ranked on
I heard-
American weird foods.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
balls
I heard,
better
that's a
be
good
on it.
idea. That's a good idea.
no. Listen, I am full of real American food called hamburger right now. That's delicious. And potatoes. You know that's American food. Meat and potatoes. I don't know what this balls shit is. Anyway,
Balls
Yeah,
come
so-
from meat.
where are we right now? So, oh my God. So, okay.
He's
So
getting
Grant-
his balls tickled
so
by
Grant-
something.
Yes. So Graham McTavish is being cucked and simped still. All right. I feel like we've just done this. Why do I feel like I'm living in a time warp? And I've already done this recently.
You're never free of the Witcher's suckiness.
Oh my
Time
God.
warp? Are we going into Rocky Horror now? Cool.
Rocky Horror.
We've kind of been all over the place, to be honest, Adam. We spent about 30 minutes, it feels like, probably not that long, but a long time on Kahir and those two dudes connecting.
Two
Two dudes.
It's,
All right.
it's a long stream. Two dudes.
All right.
talking.
I will be right back. I have to go wash my glasses.
two dudes and one sword.
Two
Oh,
dudes.
I don't- I know I'm gonna be nice and I'm not gonna make a joke. I'll be right back.
I think he's thinking of the same joke that we were telling by calling
Yep.
it that.
Yep.
Anna, can we go back to our like girl streams? We're not talking.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was a lot more productive.
Yeah.
I think we should
What
do
you
more
guys
of that.
don't? You're not enjoying us getting gay?
No, not really.
weirdly no.
No, you guys are just like talking about stuff that doesn't matter. I mean, you're wearing a wig and sunglasses. Like,
I need to
Come on,
like
you can roast me better than that. Come on.
and you hate unicorns. What is wrong with you?
I need to see you two on a stream on your own. This is great. The rivalry being built up here. I love it.
I have no animosity towards her. I'm just waiting for her to try to roast me really well. You know.
Who is
I'm
her?
not sure how to
Who are you?
because
Who is her? Who are you referring to?
you.
Me?
Yeah.
Or oh, you want me to roast you? Is that an
Yeah,
invitation?
come on. Yes.
Murray does get it pretty bad, Anna. So you got to bring your A game.
Nah, I was almost like your lawyer the
You'll
other
take
day.
it into face, Anna.
You were.
Yeah, and you got to understand this is what we do to him. And
Yeah,
he signs up for it
like,
every
this
day.
is why I want to be like, I'll represent you. You're my unicorn.
Well,
Eh,
I mean,
Why?
You're a unicorn hater, but yet at the same time you want to
I
represent
still
me.
will represent you. This is how compassionate I am.
Jeremy, you have a pure soul wanting to help you out now. Okay.
Yeah, that is really nice. I have somebody pure wanting to help this degenerate out. That
Yeah, that's the point. He is a degenerate. Remember that.
Anna, have
He's
you
Oh
ever
my
a
heard of
nerd whore and a degenerate. So
Can we
yeah.
please get off Dijkstra? And
Anna,
Dijkstra
I'd like to
having a
introduce you to Dermy. He's a single white male, we think. He's got a good heart,
Mhm.
we think. And he wears sunglasses on
And he
stream.
likes taking it up the butt.
I'm sorry, Mustang. What are you,
Look what I've done.
Tinder?
Can I ask something?
I don't know what's
I was
happening
trying to
here.
introduce
Listen,
you
I've
to
only
him
been watching
properly.
for the past 10 minutes before I came on. Did my arrival trigger the destruction of Dermy? Did that happen?
Oh,
Did that
no.
happen
No.
before?
No.
Oh, no? Okay. Things were acting normal. Okay. Things were going normally. All right.
Things were going normally.
Okay. Then I don't feel too
But I
bad.
put the wig back on just for you.
Well, fine. Look like that. I don't care.
You
Anna's
look
got
beautiful. You look
that
beautiful.
whole scorpion and the frog situation. You know,
Don't
it's
write
his
him.
nature. You can't be nice to Dermy. He gets attached. Next thing you know, he's outside your house in the bush doing depraved shit.
That's why I took him to Sheila's house in the first place, because he was here and I didn't want him here.
Yeah, you got to be mean to him. It's all he knows.
No, you guys are that does not work with me.
Hey,
I'm gonna be his lawyer. I'm gonna represent you. I'm your lawyer from now on.
How
All
did
right,
you
that's
can't
enough
ever
of
get
Ball
there?
Busters. That is enough of Ball Busters. Let's get
Mr.
back.
Grant Gustin was defending Dermy last night. He was doing a
Grant,
a good attempt.
Grant Gregory.
Grant Gregory, sorry. Did I say Grant Gustin?
Grant Gustin? Oh,
I don't know,
damn,
Mr. Grant Gregory.
Mr.
Sorry.
Lawyer.
Whatever. He was
So,
doing
Jed,
it.
the next thing that happens after Dijkstra gets his one leg smashed, broken, we got that whole Kahir and Siri scene.
Oh yeah. So, what do you guys think about this? So, for context, in the books, this is series like defining moment. Kahir has not been a character in the books thus far. All he's been is this phantom in Siri's mind that she's seen. She's having nightmares about the winged helmed knight who kidnapped her from Sintra, and she's the nightmare. He's the demon that's haunting her nightmares, and she stands up to him and beats him.
Where's his
And
helmet?
it's actual combat. Yeah, where's his helmet? And instead of that epic fight where Siri proves herself, he immediately gives up and he's like, "Oh, stick it in my face, mommy."
That's Dermy's line.
So Siri is a futa. Got it.
See, why you got to bring that in here? Why you got to
We
bring
already
that in
brought it in here. We already brought it in
it's
here.
already
Oh, we
there.
have?
Already
Oh,
here,
okay.
The
Adam.
chat asked if we wanted no balls or no balls.
Well, we're going to get horse
Unicorns.
balls eventually.
Yes, we're gonna get there. Oh jeez, Westward Smile. That is more productive than watching The Witcher.
It is.
Going outside and getting skin cancer.
This didn't bother me as much, just because I get that you can get just as much satisfaction out of killing what scares you as when they are on their knees crying like a little bitch in front of you. You know, she still has a victory because her fear is now gone. She doesn't see him as this.
In the show, she's not afraid of him. She's angry at him. There's no fear in her.
You're not a book reader, right, Devil?
No.
So you wouldn't understand everything that goes into his character and Siri and the conflict between them.
No.
So you saw really no conflict at all in this scene, other than she basically was going to kill him.
I've seen, that she has the nightmares about him, and she's all, like he's some sort of big boogeyman, even though I never really, character didn't impress me that much. But yeah, like I said, I get it from the perspective of, like I said, if you don't have to kill what makes you afraid. If you see it weakened in front of you, if you see it, on its knees crying like he's doing, little bitch, it takes away what control it has. We build up stuff in our heads so much, and so when you see it put in front of you like that, it takes away that power it has on you, is what I'm saying. But I haven't read.
But my question was, did you, during the entire show so far, have you actually seen what would make you believe she's afraid of him? Really, truly, mortifully afraid?
No, just the nightmares. Like I said, she has those nightmares where she wakes up and she's but otherwise, yeah, no, I haven't seen her like, him coming out of darkness or something behind her type thing in her mind or something like that.
Okay, I'm just curious because the books, it's a lot more than what we got in so far, and this whole scene, I was just bored. There was it wasn't earned.
Nothing's earned. It's all just, and here's this happens. Geralt, step aside while somebody else talks for 20 minutes.
And one of the things is he's just standing there, right? So he's supposed to be protecting her. And he's got the guy who is hunting her and is going to kidnap her. And he's just like sitting there like, yeah, I'm just going to let you do your girl thing. Like, what?
One of the bestest ever.
You could have had a scene where he comes in and he's like fighting Kahira, and they're having that fight that they do in the book, and and she's trying to like get in there, you know, like a little pup, like trying to like get him or something. No.
But you forget she has a vagina and he needs to bow down before it because he's a man.
Well, someone on Twitter tried to defend this moment and said that Geralt knew that Cahir wasn't an actual threat. And I just want to say, how in the world should he know that?
How would he even
Cahir
think
could take
that?
Geralt almost. I mean, the guy's a
Cahir's
legitimate killer.
Absolutely. He's a very, very skilled with the sword. And my response to that, I have 100% memory hold seasons 1 and 2. They're just that bad to me. So someone else on this panel might be able to correct me. But I don't think Geralt and Cahir have ever met.
No, they haven't.
They haven't. No.
So he has no foundation. Some random dude who Ciri shouldn't even recognize because Ciri knows him as the Winged Helm Knight. If he came with the helmet on, she would recognize him. But without the helmet, she knows who he is somehow. And Geralt somehow also knows who he is and knows that he's not a threat and that he's going to give his life up to protect.
And he's just like stepping back like she's going to karate club at 5 p.m. in Los Angeles. Like, yeah, you do your thing, girl. Like, little daughter. Like, what?
Slack
he should have been in there. He should have been like protecting her. But no, again, for reasons that we all know, they have completely changed it. Because no man is going to protect this little girl.
Because she's the greatest ever.
Absolutely. This scene made so much more sense in the books because Geralt wasn't there. He was trying to find Ciri, get to her, so Ciri had no choice but to fight Cahir on her own. If Geralt were there, Geralt would have been the one fighting Cahir, but he wasn't, so she had no choice. That's what makes the fight legitimate. And this episode is insanely female-oriented, very much girl power, but it gets so much worse when Falka shows up in the next episode, and I didn't think that was going to be possible.
You know, I am more interested in Kanye's being banned, unbanned, rebanned, and unbanned again today on Twitter than this episode. And I don't care less about Kanye, but at least that's funny.
Well, just to get a non-book fan and almost a non-show watcher's opinion on this, Rachel, what do you think about Cahir's character arc that we've seen in this season so far?
It's just another example of like a sniveling guy who's just bowing down and, you know, literally below the level of a woman. Just another example. And it's annoying. I don't understand why. Just like, I think it was a word from Fringilla.
Yes.
And he's like, oh my God, my mind is totally blown. You're so right. Thank you, big, strong woman. And then he meets Ciri and he's like, you know what? That one word from Fringilla has just totally changed my entire outlook. And I bow before you now.
Well, in this season thus far, Cahir's entire story has been about regaining Amir's trust. He even kills what seems suddenly to be his best friend just to get back into Amir's good graces. And he's here to capture Ciri. But Fringilla saying, it's crazy what you can do when you think for yourself. And he's suddenly like, yeah, I should think for myself. If he's in that fragile of a loyalty relationship with Amir, then killing his best friend, I think, would be way more impactful to a character arc than black lady I worked with a little bit and had a lot of fights with said think for myself.
A good character arc for somebody like Cahir would be, we don't know anything about him. And he is just a presence that is there, just like in, again, like Terminator Judgment Day. Just that, like, I'm coming for you. Like, I don't know anything about you. I don't know about where you've come from. I don't really care. You're just that, like, presence that's going to kill someone and going to snatch someone. Like, having that dread. Not humanizing this person and giving him this, like, you can do that later, maybe, like, explore, just like with Amir. Don't humanize him. He's going into some market and he's, like, walking around without any guards or people. Like, what? Amir is supposed to be the presence, that dread, that person who is manipulating everything. Everything that's happening in this world is happening because of Amir and his campaigns. Do we get that? No. Everybody's so humanized. Everybody has like a backstory. Everybody like pat on the head, like, yes, I'm a villain, but I also have a good side. No, it doesn't work.
Look, I got a question. I'm just sitting here thinking about this. Okay, none of us believe this as far as the show making it believable. Rachel, we've got the perfect person in you to ask. If somebody has this kind of interaction on a mental level, a psychology level, would this happen with somebody that has been traumatized like this psychologically, or would she kill him?
It's a really good question. And unfortunately, it's a very case-by-case kind of thing. It very much depends on the person, how much they've grown over the years. But in terms of how much trauma she's had, how much she's suffered, and again, I don't know the books, I don't know the games, so I really can't speak from that level. So I really just know based on what we've seen on the show. I would say no. I would think she'd probably hesitate, but I would also think Geralt would kind of like push her to kind of remind her what you're doing, what you're here for, how much he's done, and she'd probably kill him. So I don't think she'd back off based on how we know her from the show.
That's fair. Going to the humanization route, you can still have a humanized character that's just downright evil and you don't care if they die, they're just humanized. Here they just want to humanize people and make you feel stuff. Like anime does it all the time. You have great characters constantly. You also have awful characters that you're like, yes, let this dude die, but you have humanized characters all the time.
That's not, I don't think that's what Anna's talking about. It's more making Kahir a character at this point, whether or not he's personalized, whether or not he's relatable. I think she's more referring to Kahir in the books at this point, up until this actual fight, is more a force of nature, just this over-the-top figure that isn't anything but this silhouette, but this demon, but this shape that she dreams about. So more humanizing her in the fact of giving him a personality.
And they're doing themselves a disservice too. If they're saying the whole show is about Ciri, right? So if it's about Ciri, then understand Ciri. You're not understanding her at all. If you think about somebody who is a threat to you, you don't humanize them. You think of them as this black cloud coming at you, as this force, like you're saying, force of nature, who's going to attack you or hurt you, and you're watching over you. And they're doing themselves a disservice at this point.
The death of your grandmother, the death of your family, that's that person right there.
Yeah. From Ciri's perspective, she 100% blames him for the fall of Sintra, the death of Calanthe, the end of her life as she knew it. He's not just chasing her. He's the embodiment of everything wrong that's ever happened in her life. All the suffering that she's endured since leaving Sintra, all the struggles, all the countless individuals chasing her, the reason she has to train so hard and be so good at everything to just survive. This is her representation of that. It's kind of a big deal. This moment should be so much bigger than snoveling guy like, oh my god, I love you. I want your face to be the last face I see.
Yeah, and that's just a slap in the face. Like, to me, that was the most. There's two scenes. That was the first one I just did. That was, no. It's like from this, you can see the people who are writing this, the people who are directing this, the people who are involved in this do not understand, do not care. They're doing something which is doing McDonald's sausage factory burger thing. Here, have your burger.
Oh, I kid for a McDonald's burger right now.
Yeah, I know, me too, but like, it's not gonna be a
14 or 15. Like the character at this point is supposed to be.
Yes. At this point in the book, Ciri is 14 years old.
Yeah, a 14-year-old kid wouldn't, like, after all this anger and all this hate and, like you were saying, like blaming him for everything that's gone wrong in her life. There's no way a 14-year-old would be like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm just like, let you go.
At least scar the dude.
A teenager? Hell no, they're not going
A teenage female?
through that.
That'd be awful.
Which is why you need Geralt there. He's the guide. He's the father figure. He needs to guide her through that anger. That's his purpose.
And he's not. He's just off to the side so often.
He's letting the decision be hers.
Yeah.
And Geralt tries to protect Ciri in a lot of ways, get her prepared. But there are a few references to him holding her back from being as violent as she could be. He doesn't want her to turn out like him. That's why he brought Triss, for example, to Kaer Morhen, because he saw that Ciri was becoming too much like him at Kaer Morhen. He needed the feminine perspective. That's what Triss brought at the beginning of Blood of Elves to Ciri's training at Kaer Morhen, was the feminine perspective.
Yeah.
And that was important. There was a lot of cool stuff they did with that. Like when she wears a dress, that tells all the other Witchers that she's on her period and is not training that day. There's just some fun things like that they do. That is Triss's idea. Triss is important in that, but Triss in this is a non-entity. A lot of these characters exist for the sake of reference. They're like, that's accurate to the books. I have a character who has the same name from the books, even though they don't do anything that they did in the books.
No, they're there to be race swapped. They're all there to be race swapped. That's why they're all there. My representation, my inclusion.
What would it be like if she was confronting this guy while on her period? Would she have cared? Would she have actually
Shut up?
No, my brain's going somewhere.
That would be a first. That would be a first. God damn it, Dermy.
Like, what would have drove this version of Ciri to kill this man? What would have done it? She's 14. Did she need to be on her period to do it? Like, what is it?
So Adam, you're another writer. You understand characterization. So I want to get your perspective on Cahir's arc, and both describe it as what we say in the books and what you see in the show. Like, if you were writing this, what is your writer's perspective on this?
All right, season 1, evil winged helmet man kills everything, seems dominant, but then at the very end loses everything. Season 2, kind of cucks around, does nothing, has no personality. Season 3, okay, this guy. I mean, he is not going by the portrayal of what you guys gave me as the winged nightmare man in the book that he should have continued on as in the from the first season or whatever. There's no menacing. There's no nothing. There's been no buildup. We've seen this dude broken down to his lowest in an attempt to make us connect with him. And that's that crap we've been talking about lately. What you were just talking about it. Oh, let's make you sympathize with the villain. I'm tired of that. This is why, and Dermy can relate to this. We mentioned it yesterday, recently talking to me about something. I just want a bad villain in something. I like something when I just get the bad villain. Don't make me feel always sorry. Sometimes if there's a story behind it, yeah, but I don't, from what we've seen just in this, what we've seen this guy, I don't care about this guy. I wanted him to get I wanted a good fight against him in season 1, but then what we had in season 2, Mr. Oh, what am I doing? I'm wandering around, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And now this guy, I'm ready to die, even if it is book accurate that he wants forgiveness. None of this was earned because none of this there's no character here. He just shows up to be the point of her rage.
Yeah.
And without the appropriate visual connections or connective tissue buildup to make this work as a single important moment. And then they make it even worse. Like you said, it's let's smash swords for 30 seconds and then it's over. There's nothing here. It's empty. It's soulless.
Yeah, but what if he was on his period?
I think all the male characters in the show are on their period.
Yeah, it's definitely an explanation. But I just want to point out, I was talking to Rachel about that. I say no. It kind of looks like he's asking for her to kiss him.
Yep.
He's asking for it in the face.
Shit. I can't not see that now. What the fuck?
You're welcome.
I want to watch Code Geass now.
Maybe
we're talking about humanizing talking about humanizing bad guys and stuff like that, all I'm thinking about is Emperor Britannia, how awful he is, and even when they try to humanize him, you still don't care. You want him dead.
Oh yeah, he's terrible. He was terrible.
Well,
Unlike you could sympathize with Lelouch because
yes,
it's even it is worse. It's like, yeah, I'm still backing you.
Yeah, and then when you get
real fast, I want to say, hail salty traveling sea with the $1 super sticker of a poop emoji. That sums up this show perfectly. It is just shit. I've talked a lot with Salty about this show and tried to convince him to watch season 3 with me so I can talk to him about it, but he's just done watching shit besides the Wheel of Time. So it's great to have you here, man. I appreciate you supporting the channel, and you probably made the best decision for your own sanity to not watch this.
Why do you like hurting people?
I'm a bit of a sadist.
Jed, I'm perfectly fine. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm okay. See, I'm like Dermy. I can handle this.
You can handle this?
I can handle it.
I can handle a lot of different stuff, but this was just...
And we don't need to hear about the truck stop right now.
That's where I was about to go, so I'm glad Dermy did it for me. But I think we spent long enough on Kahir. I mentioned this earlier, but I want to get Adam's perspective since he wasn't here on Stregabor's death, his motivation, and this whole scene with Stregobor. Because a lot of the comments I saw on Twitter and even on my own reviews were saying, I hated the show just like you, but I love Stregabor's death. I thought that was a badass moment. From a character
make stuff explode into a fireball?
Mm-hmm.
That was badass. And we see it for like literally half a second.
Mm-hmm. He's just that racist. He just really wants to kill random elves.
Racism.
Racism. But he's never shown a self-sacrificing streak in him ever. And in fact, it would be the opposite. He in season 1, he was all about.
He would have no. This is so against his character. He would have never done this. This is just insanity. This is again taking another male character who is established, strong, even if he's bad, and just destroying it. For what reason? What?
Because he's so racist that he wanted Admiral Akbar them all.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. That's why I find this moment funny. I'll admit it. I find it funny. It's stupid but funny.
I'm gonna headcanon, and Lars Mikkelsen I think is a really, really good actor. Probably besides with Henry, the 2 best actors in the show. I'm gonna headcanon that he said, I'm leaving the show, write it in, or just end my character. And I think this is just a last minute writing decision. That's my headcanon. Don't know if it's true, doubt it's even true, but that's what I'm gonna say is Lars just want to get the fuck out.
No. Did he yell effing mongrels?
Jed, somebody explained the centipede to him. That's what happened here. He just blew up.
Well, and this is supposed to remind everyone that fire magic is really bad. That's something the show's been obsessed with to set up Siri's whole deal in the next episode. They're like, we got to remind our audience, the audience that likes the show, is really fucking stupid. So we got to remind them that we don't like fire magic. I think that might be the motivation for Stregobor here, is just to remind them right before going into the Siri fire episode.
There are no boobs in this show. That's how bad it is.
Well, there's one set of boobs in season 3. They're missing the boob part, but the nipples are there.
Oh
no, Jed. No. They were surgically removed.
No.
Go to hell, you fucking mongrels. I mean, come on, that's an awesome line. Might be not a great moment for like character development and stuff like that, but when you see a guy come out who's blatantly racist, go to hell, you fucking mongrels. That has to be fun. That's just fun.
That's a thumbnail right there.
I thought that was my favorite part of the show.
Is anybody else looking for who Dermy hates enough that we could get him to suicide himself?
I know.
Hey,
I'm looking
in Minecraft.
Wow, Dermy, I come in and you're already with the racist takes, huh?
I like this moment. I don't know why. Just
you
funny.
Hail Ryan, Legion Talks. How you doing, my friend?
Good. Sorry I'm late. Dinner ran a little long, but I did finish the show.
How was the unicorn?
What a great show it was. So great. So excited.
Ryan, just to let you know, I am Dermy's attorney from now on. I represent the unicorns of this world, so don't say anything bad.
Yet I'm a cannibalistic unicorn, apparently. So
Jeremy has a defender now.
The poor unicorns. Jeremy, leave the unicorns alone.
no, screw them. They're all awful. Well, they're not awful. They're all fine, but they deserve to die and give me their power.
You're just mad because it's got bigger balls than you.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah,
I mean, goes to the unicorn balls. Why are we going back to unicorn balls? Why?
Because they're there and big as life. That's why.
It's true. And they just appear randomly when the horse lays.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every single time Siri's head, they would look at her. They
Thank
were like
you.
right next to him.
Me, Ryan, you left
Again, Rachel, if we were reviewing this, we would never even talk about this shit, right?
2 seconds ago, Tris. 2 seconds ago.
Ryan, when we were doing the watch the other day, as soon as it happened, I just saw these giant balls. Said, "Oh look, giant horse balls," and then everybody could just look at them. And then Dermy comes in and says, talking about touching unicorn dick and shit. I mean, that's how it went. I just said, look at him and started giggling.
It was me that brought up the big black horse cock.
Yeah, I just giggled and laughed when I saw it. Everybody else was angry that now they couldn't not see it. But then Dermy started talking about stroking horse dick.
No. Okay, fucking. You brought up the balls. You get Mustang bringing up the big black horse cock. Then somebody says, "Well, why is it the unicorn letting Siri touch it?" It's like, well, she wants to freaking cock. That's why. And then you all get angry at me. It's like I'm plugging the jokes together, and you're mad that I plugged the jokes together. I know you said everyone eat goddamn unicorn balls. I'm saving those for Adam because he wants them.
You did not. Yeah, you didn't bring it up.
I was
like, it was there, but then Dermy had to take it to the step of bestiality.
I was like, holy shit, is this Ballbusters?
It is. Ever since I got here, it is.
Into that a few times, but I don't even go. Ryan, did you have any thoughts one way or another about Dragobor's death? Do you think it made sense character-wise, or was the epicness something that was enough to affect you like it was for a lot of other people and Dermy for some reason?
No, it was just funny for me.
I just think it was, I don't know. I didn't care. I think pretty much everything about this show was disappointing. I feel like maybe some of the action was a little bit better in the second half than the first, but I don't think that's really giving it a high bar.
Yeah.
I don't think the storytelling was good. I think, Geralt was literally still a fourth wave character in his own fucking show. It's not good. And the way, and then of course, no, I don't think I can really say anything that positive about any of this at all.
Well, since you came on, we did spend a little bit of time at the beginning talking about current day news. So with Adam here as well, both of you, just quick answers on this as from a games perspective, because people made this argument about the games as much as the books. Is Ciri the main character of The Witcher?
No. You and I talked about this today.
Yep. No, I just want to give it.
I'm saying, yeah, you and I talked about this on camera. She's not. She's a central character, but she's not the Witcher.
No, she's not the main character. Geralt of Rivia is the main character.
It's called The Witcher.
Yes.
No, and people were arguing that she's a Witcher.
She's not a Witcher.
No. I mean, she's the Witcher.
Perfect example. When I played the very first game over a decade ago, when I plugged it in for the first time, I had no idea what I was getting into. All I knew that I was going to be killing monsters and learning the game, learning a bit of the lore. Ciri's never mentioned once in the first game. Not to my memory.
A few minor times, but yeah, not anything significant.
I think I would have had to have gone deeper into the lore inside the game, but I was just kind of going about killing shit and trying to get the sexy pictures with sleeping with all the ladies and the monster girls, but I went into that. I didn't know who Ciri was till the second game. Mm-hmm. And then again, I had already watched because it was a lot of years between me playing the first game and the second game. I already knew about Ciri because then I had watched season 1 here and I had been educated about some of the lore. So if you're talking about it from a game's perspective, you play the first game about The Witcher and Ciri's not even a factor in it, that kind of makes the case all by itself.
So you need to when you're introducing a character and you want people to love it, you need to actually invest some time into getting the person the audience to love that character. You need to invest time and money into developing that character. You can't just throw something at something and be like, oh, because she looks like this and she's this gender, like, just love it. No, it doesn't work that way. Both ways.
I mean, I'll admit in the first season, when Geralt and Ciri finally find each other after everything has happened, and all the hesitancy that kind of led up to that, to where they don't really know each other, and all that stuff, and she finally realizes that she's relieved to see him because she realizes she's safe. That's a good moment. And then it leads into season 2, and then like everything changed. It's just a completely different show. It's just not good. They, I would even say it's arguable that in the first season that Geralt isn't solely the main character, because you get a lot of side story in other directions. Which, I mean, I understand to a certain extent, but season 2 took it well above and beyond of making it not his show, and then season 3 is just atrocious.
Well, and Salty brings it up in the chat. Yes, and that is something I mentioned at the beginning of the show. The last 2 books are what you have the argument for Ciri being the main character of. That's 2 out of 8 books that she is arguably the main character. And she's not even in 2.5 of those other books. It's not enough. It's not enough. Well, but since you bring up that moment that you're referring to at the end of season 1, where Geralt and Ciri meet each other, it means so much more in the books. That does happen in the books at the end of Sword of Destiny, or close to it. It's Geralt and Ciri have actually met each other before that, about 2 years beforehand in the Forest of Brocculon. Yep. So they have a built relationship. She already trusts him. And in the show, there's no way she should even know who he is. All she knows is Calanthe said, find Geralt of Rivia. Yeah. Does she know what Geralt looks like? No. Does she know if she should really trust her beyond what Grandma said? In the books, they have a relationship built up. And I love that moment. And they actually bring that moment to life in a vision in The Witcher 3 that I want to share with the chat.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Then the games take it forward where you do in the training prologue of Geralt training young Ciri, little girl Ciri, and you get the feeling, there's been some time here. It means something. For those of us who haven't read the books or haven't had the experience of Geralt and Ciri, in the introduction of Witcher 3, you get that, and you're ready to go. I'm buying in.
Well, I just want to share this because, this moment is so much better in the books and the games, because he knows where she's at. He's coming for her. They're looking for each other, and they have a relationship. And I just absolutely adore this moment from both the games and the books. I just feel like that's so much more impactful than season 1.
Absolutely agree.
Oh, I mean, I absolutely agree that the games did it better, and I think most of us would probably agree, right, that the games are probably more prominent than the books themselves. And I mean, that's not a shot at the books or anything.
No, I would agree.
But what the hell, man? All you had to do was adapt the video games, which most people know, faithfully, and you have a massive hit show. It's not that hard.
Right. It's a different set of rights, but if they'd gone after the game rights instead of the book rights, absolutely.
Right. You're right. You're right. Going down the right alley. It's the same thing with Halo. All Halo had to do was adapt the first game, and everybody wins.
But they didn't do that, and then we get this show where, like,
I have a question for all of you. Like, I know some people who are my friends, but they think this is good, and I'm just like,
Well, Anna,
do
what
I want
level
to
of
be
normie
friends
are
with
they?
you?
What level of normie are they? Are they somewhat adjacent to nerddom, or are they just total normie?
Like totally like norm, but Like they think any entertainment today is good, and
Then
this
they're
is why
consumers.
it's so important
Yeah, they're
to raise
consumers.
this.
They're
That
just-
it's not good.
They're just consumers. Then they're
Yeah,
honestly they're not
yep.
thinking. They're just it's like give me more, whatever
Well-
dopamine you give me, I'm happy with. I don't care what it is.
Yeah,
Well, there's
wash,
also
rinse,
some-
repeat. That's it.
Yeah.
There's also some consumers that just it's not really about dominating. They're just watching something. It's just there. My father is one of those guys. He just turns something on just to have something playing. Doesn't matter. He's not even watching it.
Well,
Oh yeah,
you-
I would agree with that. Yeah, most
you
people
brought
are
up-
fuck around on their phone while the TV's on. Who's watching
Right.
this?
Yeah.
Who's legitimately watching this except for fans?
We're
Mhm.
having fights in theaters because people are watching YouTube.
Well, Ryan, you bring up an important point about the connection to games and how prominent they are. At this stage in time, after especially Witcher 3, even as much of a book fan as I am, I absolutely adore the books. I would never have started an adaptation of The Witcher without the rights to the games. I would have started with the first book still, but I would want as many tie-ins to the games as possible, and then eventually adapt the games at the end of the show as well. Because that's what people know. So have the design of Geralt look exactly like it did in game. Have the design of all the characters match. Have a stylized connection. Have very similar sounding voice actors or actors, and just have as many connections to the games as possible. Design monsters the same way. Make it look and feel like the game.
Jed,
with the book story.
they don't want to make money. They don't want to make money. They don't want to. They don't want to go the easy route of getting an instant cheerleading squad. And again, I use Halo as an example. This example, if you had followed the easy roadmaps that are laid out for you, and yeah, you adapt it as close as possible. You're not going to get everything in there. You got to streamline over time, but you get the basics. You get the major points. You get the right feel, the right look, and all we are then doing is going, yeah, all right. We see Master
Right.
Chief just plowing through Covenant, or we get Geralt killing monsters. And suddenly we have nothing to complain about, and we're cheering for you, and you get a built-in fan base who's ready to promote your product for free across
So
their dozens,
easy.
hundreds of channels. It's so easy, but no. You know what the problem is? The original stories, there's no room for agenda in that. And if you can't fit agenda in it, if you can't have my women's, my diversity, my inclusion, then I'm sorry, you can't get it done.
Well, also, I don't even know if it's even 100% that. I think these people that take these faithful stories that people love and stuff like that, and they make their little adaptations. It's because they want to take something and they want to reimagine it in their own with their own take.
But yeah,
And it's like, okay, well, that's all well and good for you because you want your own take on it. But what about everybody fucking else that likes the books or the video games? There's a much larger audience that likes that than what your adaptation is. So it's an ego thing too. They're like, oh, well, I'm gonna make it in my way, and it's like maybe you should just make it the way it should be.
Ryan, I want to touch on something when you bring that up. There is,
Before
and
you
Jed
do,
knows
I
about
have
it.
to let someone. I have to make an out. Devil made me do it. Actually, has to bounce right now. So
I kind of have to
We'll
go.
go straight to you. All right. So we'll just start with Devil. I appreciate you being here, Devil. It's always great to have you here and your input. Is there any final thoughts that you have and anything that you'd like to plug for your channel?
My final thoughts are, God, I hope the show doesn't come back. I just don't think they can bring it back from how bad they've dropped it down, so hopefully they let it lie here, as unfortunate as that is. And then you can follow me at Beelzehub on the YouTubes. Check out Get Ranked on Sundays, and I will talk to you all later.
Perfect. Take it easy,
Yeah,
man.
dude.
See you, buddy.
And
See you Sunday.
Jeremy, same deal for you. Any final thoughts on the
Yeah.
show going into the other episodes that we didn't get a chance to? Like, since you're so gay, do you want to talk about the giant pool of cum? You probably really like that.
Oh wow.
Oh God, no. Like I will say this: what comes up next, that spit pool, made me want to vomit. That's disgusting. That's weird. There's nothing good about this show. Nothing happened. This is the most probably detailed episode because there was just a bunch of shit constantly being thrown at you. After this, nothing happens. Nothing continues. The show's dead. The show's awful. Nobody cares. I'm outie. Check me out on Dermy Wormy, where I have live streams, videos, hopefully daily again coming out soon. And yeah, that's about it. I have a big guest coming on this Ballbusters, which should be announced on Wednesday.
Is this the big one? Is this the big one?
The big
one? This is the big one.
Everyone definitely tune in to.
Yeah, that's Friday. In all seriousness, Friday's probably gonna be a really good one, but we're still gonna bust his balls.
Yeah, definitely check that one out because it's his boyfriend. He's finally coming out.
Mm-hmm. It is his boyfriend.
Yes, but in reality, I should have the announcement for who the guest is out Wednesday. I have to wait till Monday to get confirmation. So,
hey, Jeremy, don't forget to show the guest the image that I sent you in Ballbusters, and I sent to you privately as well.
He's vetoed that. We're not allowed to talk about that with this guest.
Yeah, that's a no-no.
And actually, Rachel's the one who showed me that image. That's how I know about that.
Yeah, I'm responsible for that one.
We're not allowed to, so Raster brings it up every time now.
They're probably it's gonna come up. It's inevitable to come up. So
Raster's gonna do it. I'm waiting for Raster to do it. I'm not gonna be able to do it.
I'm just gonna spam the chat with 18%, 18%, 18%.
I thought it was 21%.
It's 18.
We adjusted it.
No. It's actually 18%.
Anna's over here like, what the hell are we talking about?
You don't want to know, Anna.
You don't want to know.
No, I was just thinking, Dermy, like, you gotta pay me for all the,
Damn,
represented you this whole time.
I'll pay you.
I'm your lawyer from
now on. Don't ask him what he'll pay you with, though. Don't ask him what you'll pay.
I'll bring you on a Ballbusters. Don't you worry.
No,
Anna, don't do it.
No,
do not subject that woman to that.
Just say no. Just say no. You do not want to be on that show with us. It's no.
You can do the little chair. If Jeremy ever invites you to do the little chair, do that one. Don't do.
I will bring.
Who was it was first to pick that little chair out? Was it me or Raster?
Oh my god, you guys are so sexist. You don't think that I can go into Ballbusters? Really?
We're protecting you.
No one deserves to be on.
You're nice. We're not nice on that.
Anna, when I went on Ballbusters,
I'm not nice too.
One of my best friend's houses was destroyed by a tornado. That's how bad Ballbusters is. It attacks your friends.
Chat. How bad is it? Biggles is telling us how bad it is.
That's fine.
Don't do it.
It's so bad.
Anna, as the other woman here on this panel, I promise you, don't do it.
Rachel's been there. She's seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
It's
degenerate.
This stream was gay.
This is level 1. This is level 1 of what happened since I arrived on the stream. That's level 1 of Ball.
It's a challenge. Always up for a challenge.
It's level 1.
I
dialed up to 12 as we get out of the gate.
Dermy, she sounds gung ho, man. I think maybe we should do it.
Well, Dermy's the host.
This
is yours.
I'll do it. I'll get back.
All right, we'll just say this: forewarned is forearmed.
Yep.
I'll get back with you all. Have a good one. Bye, guys.
See you, fucker.
Let's go to Mustang, and then I want to tear through these. We're 2 hours in, and we haven't even finished episode 1 yet. And the next 2 episodes are going to be very fast. There's not much.
Remember episode 7 in the desert horse balls. There, we're done.
Pretty much.
It's kind
of okay. This is going back to what Ryan was saying. Is
go for it.
This is crap. Yet Jed and I both know of a fan fiction on YouTube. And correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's Polish.
I believe so. It's definitely not in English, and it looks Eastern European.
And
what is that?
It is 100% better than this show, and it makes you understand and really care about The Witcher.
What is that? What are you talking about?
There's a Polish fan film that's actually free on YouTube right now called Alzur's Legacy, and it follows directly after the books. It's not connected to the games at all. So, spoiler, at the end of the books, Geralt and Yennefer and Ciri all disappear from the continent. They don't know what happened to them. And so it picks up with Lambert and Triss 30 years after.
Can you send a link to that, please?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. It's a fan film, so there are some technical issues with it, but considering its budget, it is very, very well done. I would say
Chris, that's
it easily has better production design, set design, costume design, and fight choreography than the Netflix show.
It is dubbed. Well, heck, you probably be able to understand it, though, Anna.
Yeah, there are
she should translate it to English.
I'm sending it to you on Twitter right now, and I'll drop it in the YouTube chat as well, because I 100% recommend it to everyone.
I agree, 100%.
And as much as I love the Hexer TV series from the beginning of the 2000s, I think this one is better just in general. I'd rather watch this fan film because it's very high budget for a fan film. But you were going to talk about identity, Mustang. You were I thought you were going to jump into the political stuff. Was what you were going off, Ryan? With
No. I was going into this is how good it the comparison, because what political is really in here? I mean, this is just social agenda ESG. That's, if you want to go political, that's all this is.
Yeah. I mean, there's little stuff in this episode that are important, obviously, but I feel like the conversation with Falca in the next episode is just pure, unadulterated third-wave feminism. But we'll get there. To finish up this episode as quickly as possible, there's two things that happen, really. The fight with Vilgefortz and the Ciri going into the Tower of the Gulls. Does anybody have any thoughts on that before we move on?
Yes, I do.
Go for it.
I think the fight with Vilgefortz was extremely underwhelming. I think that the way the character was represented was completely, again, not the way he is written in the book. I think that should have been a whole, like, at least 3-minute, like, fight between two, because this guy beat Geralt's ass. Nobody beats Geralt. There is no one person in that universe who can not a monster. Geralt always perseveres. He's always has the upper hand, and this is the one person that beat him, and they just like went like that. And Geralt's like broken legs, broken everything, and again did not build up that character to make him seem like they're gonna have this fight.
Mm-hmm. It felt very underwhelming because you don't. It just I don't feel like it was built up enough. I felt like it should have been longer to see the combat play out. I think it also would have made it more dramatic, in my opinion, because this is supposed to be something that's shocking to the audience. And I felt like it was kind of like a fart in the wind. You're like going, it's there and then it's gone. Right. And for him to basically get his leg broken, then get his back broken, and he collapses, and that's it. And it's like, and then he spends literally the next episode and a half trying to regain himself. I'm like, so the fight was minuscule, but the aftermath was drastic. It's just it doesn't match up.
Well, we needed Milva to be introduced.
Oh God! Oh, and I found this out after we watched it, Adam. The actress for Milva plays Shang-Chi's sister in Legend of the Ten Rings.
I wouldn't know that. I didn't watch that garbage.
I did.
So she's doubled down insufferable. Okay, cool.
Yep, very insufferable. Yes. But this is so disappointing for Henry Cavill as much as Geralt, because this is his final outing. This episode should have been a ton of Geralt action, because he fights Dijkstra and a bunch of Redanians. He fights a bunch of Scoia'tael. He fights a bunch of mages. He killed a mage to save Ciri. And then when he gets separated from Ciri again, he fights a bunch of elves. And Kahir, who's injured at this point from his fight with Ciri, describes it as like a shadow coming out of the night and annihilating elves. And it's a force of nature, a whirlwind of steel. And we didn't get any of that. Geralt doesn't. He breaks Dijkstra's leg in 2 seconds, and then he spends the rest of the episode positively affirming Ciri and like, you go, girl. And then he gets beat in 2 seconds in his fight with Vilgefortz. And then not even to mention the last 2 episodes with Henry Cavill where he's barely in it. He's sidelined. He's got like 10 minutes in each of the subsequent episodes. How did they think this was a good send-off for him? As soon as they announced his recast, Lauren Hissrich and the producers were like, it sucks that he's leaving. We loved him. Obviously a lie. But this is the best place for him to leave. It's a great action-packed episode. We can make it lore accurate, and it'll be a great send-off for him. He just wanders into the woods at the end. And he didn't even get the whole final fight on his own. Milva has to come and save him, so he can't have a good moment.
Oh my god, that scene! Like he's having his last fight, and he's like, I was like, okay, are gonna give him this like sequence where he's like swinging the sword and everything, and then the guy is coming at him, and it's her. She shoots the arrow.
3 arrows.
Yeah, like it's like he don't even give him that last like swing, like chop somebody's head off or something.
And he stands up and he says, "I know, I'd be dead."
Mm-hmm. Because she's been yelling at him the whole episode. It's so bad. And he walks into that fight. He's like, you know what? I'm about to fight 20 Nilfgaardian soldiers. The best thing to do here is give Yatir my sword. I don't understand that. It's not a training deal. Like, and that's what someone tried to argue is, oh, he needs to prove it to himself that he's still a good fighter.
Oh, bullshit.
I don't think Geralt needs to prove to himself he's still a good fighter. It's like he's literally the best. Like, and I'm sorry that whole fight where beforehand where Vilgefortz beats him is horse shit, by the way, because it's so short. And this is literally how the audience, the look on Henry Cavill's face right there, that's how the audience feels about all of this.
That's a thumbnail, dude. Remember this. It's a thumbnail.
Oh, I've used it like 7 times already.
Okay.
I think
you have. I'm thinking of this. You rotated it and had him.
Yeah, I've used it several times.
All right, now I see it. I see it. Look, he's actually crying a little bit because he knows. God damn it! They ruined this. They ruined it. Ruined it. Those are real tears of God damn it, they ruined this.
Well, let's move on to the next one unless anyone has anything to say about this abomination of portion of the
I said my piece about that. The next episode, in my opinion, is even worse because it's just wandering through the desert.
And horse balls.
Yeah, there's so little to talk about. I mentioned these last two will be pretty easy to get through.
No, those horse balls were pretty big.
Yeah.
So there's just Yathir wandering around talking to his boyfriend.
That was my favorite. No, that was my favorite. That was my favorite episode, just because of the
unicorn.
Just like little.
So terrible.
These two had chemistry. They've hated each other for 3 seasons, and suddenly they're like, "I want to have your baby."
And yet they still have more chemistry than he does with his boyfriend. Honestly,
it's true.
It's very true.
Yeah.
In season 2, Yennefer had more chemistry with Cahir on their weird side quest than Geralt and Yennefer ever had.
You know why? Because people stopped getting naked.
We just have had Dandelion running around screwing everything that he saw, like, he should be.
No, he was just getting his own Dandelion plugged.
Oh, God, no, don't show me that woman. Oh, God.
They recast the Queen of the Dryads from season 1. And this is all just bad. Yeah, there's not really much.
That hairstyle, by the way. What is that? Are we just purposely making people look butt ass ugly?
Yes. Yes. She said that the showrunner said so.
Yes, it's true. The casting director said the casting was made specifically to challenge beauty standards, which in the context of the actual interview, it's straight up saying, "Yeah, we chose Yennefer because she's ugly." So I don't think the actress for Yennefer is ugly, but the casting director kind of just came out and said, "Yeah, Yennefer's ugly, and we did that on purpose."
And that's a really slippery slope. You can, are we going into 1984 now? Like, you can challenge everything, but there are certain standards. Like, you don't change certain things. It's just the way it is. And Henry Cavill is a beautiful, handsome man.
Yeah.
Even I can say that. That's a handsome man.
Yeah.
As somebody who was alive in 1984, we didn't have these problems back then.
No, kind of a precursor to what could be.
Yeah. Well, and I want to briefly mention this whole stupid shit with Renfri's medallion. It's been on his sword for 2.5 seasons, and then suddenly they try to act like it's a defining thing for him and act like it's story related. Then he leaves it behind for some reason. This Renfri's medallion on his sword is just so dumb.
It's literally been on his sword for 2 seasons. And they make it this big deal, and then all of a sudden he hands it away.
Yep.
And then after he beats the guards, like, he doesn't even pick it back up. I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, whatever. It's just another thing. You're just like, fuck it. Either you're not paying attention to the story or you just don't care.
Don't care. Yeah.
Chekhov's
And that's
gun
what I
had
would
no
go with.
blank.
They
It
don't
was
care.
all blanks. That's all this is. It's a blank.
Oh God.
I do want to say when this scene is it this scene? I know it was earlier. It's at the beginning of the episode when she falls out. Even when I saw this in the trailers, when this moment came up, I was half expecting a John Boyega Finn head pop out. That's what I was thinking the whole time looking at this. I was like, where's the black dude? His head's just gonna come right up. That was the most excited I got the whole episode. It was like, oh, we're getting a John Boyega.
Racist.
Very racist.
Well, you know, and even about this episode too, it could have been a good episode. And I think there might have been a few parts like it was a good like kind of like a mind fuck, you know, where she's delusional, she's hallucinating, and then you get the stupid thing where she punches the rock, and then fucking what's her name? She's like, you really shouldn't punch rocks, and it's like, really? That's where you went with that? Like, God,
Yeah,
the
when she
writing's
gets the
terrible.
flashbacks from Calanthe and Falca.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah,
The
Falcon. Yeah,
stuff was really dumb. He's like, you were killing people like me and like elves. She
Ryan,
got
you
her
weren't
elven
here.
blood through Calanthe. Calanthe
You
has
weren't
more
here
elven
for it, but
blood.
I was pointing out Game of Thrones references throughout this entire episode. It was
Yep.
one after another.
yeah. We talked about blood and fire, and I was like, oh, fire and blood.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm very disappointed that they went with the vegetable dinner scene and not the macaroni and cheese one. I wanted another shot of the macaroni and cheese.
Just ridiculous.
Is there a
It's-
Bud Light on that table?
Oh, look, it's the it's the mucus.
And I just want to make sure this isn't me. I'm sure it's not. What is the logic of this thing's biology where something like this is possible?
I don't know. The only thing I kind of thought about it when I saw this is from Willow, the fucking the worm creature that secretes the
The TV show Willow, yeah.
the TV show Willow that Disney did. I was just like, oh look, it's more worm. It kind of has that same thing that really.
I get like translating from retarded. I guess they're trying to say like, oh, there's a monster coming.
Yeah, but
It
for something,
secretes something, so audience.
well, for something that's for the
aware.
bait, for something that's bait, it took way too long. It should have, as soon as she stuck her hands in, should have killed her.
Yep.
Exactly.
This doesn't make any sense. Let's delay it and try and cram in something lore related just to make it happen. But yeah, she should be dead.
It's not lore. This is not a
This is-
lore.
this is
I don't know what this is.
Okay.
No, I mean with Little Horse coming in. I mean let's
Oh,
just try and have an entrance for something that's actually lore related. But if it's like a pilot fish, essentially, you should be, as soon as you touch it, you're dead. You're dead. But no, she plays ookie with it for a couple seconds.
Or like she
And
could have
then-
come up
and
to
it
it and
goes
she
to
could have been like, should I touch this? Should I? But again, it's character development. We don't have any character development for anybody in this.
My
Oh,
honest
little
thought when I saw this
Mars,
was
my favorite.
they were going to do Dune. That's the bile of the sandworm, and here we have the sandworm.
Oh,
Really?
God, you
Really,
can't
Ted?
even see his balls. Jesus Christ, you guys.
My dingling, my dingling.
This is right there.
It's not right there. There's nothing. It's
I
black
saw
hole.
Yes,
the
right
swing as it
there.
walked in, and it's
No,
swinging,
it's
swinging.
not.
It's swinging back into how low can
No,
you
it
go?
ain't. No.
Yeah.
See, that's all I did was laugh the original time. That's all I did. They're
You
there.
guys are
Look at
Hey, Jed,
weird.
can we go
It's
slow-mo
It's a
for a few minutes here?
unicorn. Who cares?
She's like, those are some big ass balls. I'm
That
sorry,
makes
I
it
had to
dinner.
steer into the skid.
Yes.
Ugh.
Hooray us.
All right, we're tearing through this episode, so I want to keep up with it. I just want to briefly talk about all this stuff with Falca because It is aggressively stealing from other properties like Game of Thrones, straight up quoting from Game of Thrones. And Adam can speak to this better than I can. It feels like they're stealing a little bit from Wheel of Time as well. And then being as third wave feminist as possible. Because she straight up says, like, the system 20 times, talks about feminism, like powerful women have always been put down.
Oh, yeah. That patriarchy bad all the time.
It's all about patriarchy bad. And she straight up says it's an endless cycle, like what was it? Person or wheel or whatever, you must break the wheel.
Wheels, yep. Same as Daenerys.
Cogs in a wheel or whatever. Yeah, it's exactly what Daenerys said. So the cycle will repeat. I tried to break the cycle and kill my father for denying me what was rightfully mine, trying to justify what she did, and you must do the same. You must follow in my footsteps and break the system. Well, for those of you who don't know, they don't explain it, but they did it in the books before she ultimately has a vision of Falca. In the books, I equate Falca to the version of Hitler in the Witcher universe. She's from about 100 years before him, and she's responsible for the most violent and bloodthirsty revolution in the history of the continent. She alone is responsible for the most death of nearly any single individual in the history of the continent. She starts it off with, there are women rulers out there, but when the king, her father, falls in love with a different woman, he sends his wife and his newborn child back to, I believe it is Kovir or Kedwin, and he marries his new wife, has daughters with them, but because he sent his original wife and daughter away, she's not Falca's not going to be queen, and so she's really upset about that. So she goes back when she's an adult, murders her brothers with her bare hands, gets excited by the blood, kills her father, and starts a revolution that tears across the continent, killing indiscriminately before she's ultimately burned at the stake for her crimes. And Lauren Histrich has come out and said before the show came out that Ciri and Falca are the same. They're just powerful women suppressed by ignorant men, and they're making this narrative that Falca was innocent and she was a good person.
Oh, yeah, okay.
In the books, in the next book, Philippa does make an argument. She says, I personally believe, and not in those words, but she's basically like, I personally believe Falca isn't as bad as we think. She just lost control of a mob. That is the one reference from the books of perhaps a little bit of grayness to Falca, is one woman's opinion on the history. But the show's taking that all the way. It's like, yeah, the most violent person from history, because she's whamming and her dad wanted to screw a different woman, it's clearly justified and she's a victim. Victim.
Yeah. I mean, she has a vagina, so she can't be responsible for her actions. I mean, come on. And that's not a shot, obviously, at, actual normal women. It's a shot at these.
What does that mean? Normal women?
As in, like, who are not like psychos like Lauren Histrich. I mean, come on. Lauren Histrich certainly has daddy issues, right?
She definitely has daddy issues. I would say that's legitimate.
Oh my God, Adam's I think having a crisis.
I honestly think it isn't Hitler, Jed. I think it's Rasputin that would fit the bill for Falca better.
We don't have as big of a reputation for Rasputin. There's plenty of people in my generation who don't even know who he is.
Okay, Stalin.
Even then, there's people who don't.
I've been called Stalin many times, apparently.
I did not call you Stalin on the game. I said you were acting like Stalin. You were killing raptors.
Yes. Continue. Why are you scared to continue? Why are you? You can call me Stalin. That's fine.
People don't know what an actual fucking Nazi is in today's world.
Yeah.
Are we really surprised that they can't get this kind of shit right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're a good villain.
I do agree that Stalin might be and Rasputin might be better historical comparisons, but more in the way that they're viewed in history. Falk and Hitler have a lot of similarities. Is just how people put them up on a pedestal as the ultimate evil. Because Stalin, yes, there was a lot of terrible things he did, but my generation, the few who know who he is, several of them think he's good because of his political standings. So there's a lot of different arguments to be made with Stalin when it comes to how people view him.
No, Jed,
Your
there's
generation needs
no.
to play Minecraft more often.
He was a psychopath. That's
I agree with you, Anna. I agree with you. I'm just saying that people my generation don't know that and are misviewing it, mischaracterizing it for a political narrative. That's a common thing that I've seen. I 100% agree about Stalin with you, Anna. But from in American sense, Stalin is nowhere near the same level of pinnacle of evil as Hitler is. And so that's why I feel like Falk and Hitler are a better comparison than Stalin or Rasputin. Definitely Rasputin.
All right, I'll give you that for generational comparison then.
Yeah.
But it's just a bunch of random stuff with them in the woods having visions that make not a whole lot.
Oh my god, why are you putting the unicorn balls? What is your obsession, you guys?
That was like 5 minutes ago.
I didn't see any unicorn balls.
That's why Adam lost it. I'm skipping ahead now.
I didn't see any unicorn balls.
All right. The last thing in this episode that I want to talk about is this.
Oh God!
I'm so powerful.
Look at that
Starship
face.
Trooper moment.
Are you kidding me? A piece of its armor fell off, and she picked up that heavy ass piece of armor from the animal and then used it like it's not even sharp.
No, she just runs at it, climbs up it, and
look at how big that thing is compared to her. And then they change the size when she runs because obviously it's
Lady B.
It's so this fight is so short and a lot different than in the books. The unicorn just kind of stands there and gets hit. The unicorn in the books actually helps her fight. It's a duo.
He fights like hell, and he first of all, he does not let her touch him. He's there as her companion. He's not just there like, oh, horsey, I can touch you, like a never-ending story. You know, he's his own entity, and then he goes and he fights, and he gets injured.
I want to point out, Ryan, she rips it off with her bare hands. It doesn't just fall off. That's what she's doing. Is you see her struggling.
Is that what it is? Because I wasn't sure if it was because the thing was thrashing and she was just holding on and it came off, but
she ripped it off with her bare hands.
It's fucking terrible.
And yeah, that is rock.
Yeah,
that is pure rock, and it's as big as her torso, bigger.
I couldn't pick that fucking thing up.
Oh God, no! I don't know many bodybuilders who would be able to do that.
6'4" and 280 pounds. I can't pick that fucking thing up, let alone her, and run with it.
And jump with it and do this?
Ryan, this is Starship Troopers. Straight out of it.
Yeah, I know it is.
And somehow that worked. Like, was she trying to use it like a sword to pierce its head?
Yeah, that's
smashing.
I mean, that's kind of how it looks. You would expect that to be like a spear or a sword being brought down on its head, but no, she just sits there and constantly raises that thing up. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, we just saw in the scene, in the beginning of the scene, her using magic. Why didn't she just use magic to kill it?
That's a good point. All she did was
no, but that's actually she does know how it. So that's one thing that I do agree with. Like when you use magic, you need to get and this is one thing also I disagree with in the show when they were having the whole coup scene, everybody shooting magic everywhere. Like it takes time to conjure. It's a life force that you need to gather. It's not something you can just go and it happens. It takes practice. It takes time. You need to. So she does not experience that. She has no experience of that at this moment. At this moment, all she knows is sword fighting and practical stuff.
She shouldn't have been able to do that spell at the beginning, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, she used one of the two major spells in this season. Push. That's all she did. Push. It's force push and shield. Those are the two allowed spells for the most part, besides evil fire magic. And that's what happens here. She's tempted to do fire magic. There's a weird vision where
it's Daenerys.
She gets pushed into the flames by Falcon. So she shoves her in, and then she's like, and then she gets absorbed. It's so terrible.
Which is a change from the books here. So in the books, Falca doesn't show up until after she's tempted by fire magic, And the fire magic is Polka is Ciri's own mind tempting her to use the fire magic. It's more her subconscious and the power that she could wield with it. In this show, it's important to note that the same voice actress who played Polka played the genie-looking orb that was manipulating everything, or the Jinn, excuse me, back in Blood Origin. The orb that is the origin of Baba Yaga, it looks like the orb who is now on the same planet as the Eridan and the Wild Hunt as a Blood Origin, who is manipulating everything in Blood Origin, obsessed with coming to our world, is voiced by the same person who plays this, and this person comes before the power thing, before the fire magic deal, and physically pushes her into the fire. I feel like, yeah, this is Baba Yaga, because we do see Baba Yaga's green eyes flare in episode 2 of the season with
which is not at all, has nothing to do with Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is an entity that lives in the forest, who is a witch, who I guess it's something that is not at all the way it's in Sapkowski's, Andrei Sapkowski's books. It's not even, again, it's an entity. You don't give it character. You don't give it a personality. You don't give it a face, a name. Like, it's an entity that's supposed to, like, haunt you. Don't go into the forest, kids, because Baba Yaga is there. And she lives in a house on 4 chicken feet, you know, and, like, that's scary, that's creepy, that's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but that is seems to be the direction that they're going. Is Eridan is no longer the leader of the Wild Hunt. Baba Yaga, played by the actress who is the personification of Polka, will be the villain going forward, the primary force behind the Wild Hunt, because Oberon's not in this. For Anna and Mustang, Oberon is kind of an important character. Yes, we don't really meet him until Lady of the Lake, but he's the one in charge of the Wild Hunt. He's the reason the Wild Hunt is chasing her. And he wasn't in Blood Origin. And what we saw of the Wild Hunt, they don't have a civilization. They don't have Tyr Nalia. They haven't conquered the Unicorn's planet. It's just nonsense to put Baba Yaga and a female as the villain, and a female that we relate to, because, you're wearing the face of a girl who was abused by men, and she was just so brave and stunning and powerful. She could have been the greatest queen ever. And I feel like that's the direction they're going with it. That's my speculation based on Blood Origin using the same actor as this one and the Baba Yaga stuff, but that is my speculation.
I hope to God we never see it.
I agree. I really hope we don't see it.
I hope season 4 is dead in the water.
Oh God, if we were only that lucky. But the rest of the episode, I don't feel like there's much worth talking about besides Jaskier gets Geralt a letter from Yennefer that says dear friend again, because after season 2, a lot of people complained that we didn't get the dear friend letters, so they just spammed them in season 3. It's like dear friend, dear friend, dear friend, and other people,
dear friend,
times.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, random characters were saying friend all the time.
Yeah, you get dear friend again in this next episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they brought it back, which is great. I was like, oh look, there it is again. Because we couldn't get more of that, right?
There is no heart and soul in any of this, and I think it's so, like, to us, like, even just watching this, it's cool, like, making fun of it and haha, this is funny. Like, it's lacking the soul of the whole point of this story, and the story is amazing and something that should have been done with somebody who cares about it, and lying to people and saying, yeah, we care about it, and then going and putting this shit out. No.
Well, yeah, I mean, and on top of that, look at literally the character we're staring at right now. I mean, she's not unattractive, but they have her frumped up so damn bad, and that costume, oh my God, it's terrible looking. Look at that armor. Are you shitting me?
Really sad. And how much does that armor weigh? Does anyone know armor well enough to estimate that weight?
I couldn't tell if it was leather or if it was metal.
It's metal.
It's pleather.
Yeah, it's fake pleather. Because, yeah, she wouldn't be able to walk around with it that easily if it were metal. But she's climbing a tree. She's lives in the woods.
Oh, so, she does all these flips too, right? She does like these acrobatic things. Like,
can't do that with a metal breastplate on unless you're superhuman. And a lot of people are saying that she's a dryad. No, she's not a dryad. She is a human living with the dryads, and the only
With the dryads, yeah.
This
Yeah.
episode changes it so that they're taking in all the refugees, they're taking in Scoia'tael, they're taking in humans. No, the dryads let nobody in. Letting in Milva when she was a child was a big deal for them. But the context, like book-wise, this character is so vastly different. This lady is mean, aggressive, bitchy, and substantially older than her book counterpart. In the books, Milva's very, very young. Older than Ciri, I'd say, probably around 18, 19 is my guess. We don't know exactly, but she's young.
Maybe even younger than that. But yeah, she's very much like open-eyed. Like, oh, I went, like, she would never speak like this. Like, she goes, every single line this character has in this show is just a punch in your face. And that's why, like, I was saying to Rachel, like, Rachel, I just wanted to punch her in the face at the end of the day. Like, shut the fuck up.
I mean, she's so condescending in everything she says. Everything she says is condescending.
So I go back to the line that she has. See if I can find it. But at one point, when she's walking with Geralt and Jaskier towards the training field, he's like, "You're useless. Not nearly as useless as this guy, though." And like Dandelion, she's just making fun of both of them constantly. It's horrendous because this girl, she's shy, she's sheltered, she's lived most of her life with dryads. She goes outside to trade and get news for Geralt, but she doesn't understand the outside world. She's very much sheltered, and she has a teenage girl-esque crush on Geralt. So she's even more awkward and shy around Geralt than she normally would be. She's just such a sweet character that you want to protect. It's another almost fraternal relationship from Geralt's perspective with Milva, as well as the other fake Ciri. We're going to get another, or at least in the books, in the next book, there's another fake Ciri that travels around with Geralt, Milva, Jaskier, and then they meet Regis and Zoltan along the way, and they have this little band together. And that's my favorite part of the books, is that band together heading south, trying to fight through a war zone to get to Ciri. It's a really cool section. But
hey, Jed, to answer your question, I'm looking at some of the more recent samurai. We're talking 16 to 1800s, and they're saying between 5 and 12 pounds for heavy strand silk with some metal on it.
Why are you looking at samurai? I wouldn't say this
because it was the only thing that I can find that even might be close to what she had on for a lightweight. Everything else, you're talking 20 pounds or more.
I wouldn't say this even looks like samurai armor at all. But I did notice it looks like there's nipples on this armor. I don't know why. I don't know how you guys can see it on your screens, but there's clearly a nipple.
Yeah, we did when we were watching it on the watch along.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's intentional. I think it's just cheaply made.
That's definitely a possibility.
I think it's definitely intentional.
Do you?
I think it's supposed to be like, okay, well, we're doing the whole like women powerful, but at the same time, like, free the nipple, guys. You know?
Well, I mean, she is also sitting there very Galadriel-esque, where she's got her legs spread open, just like hanging her D out.
Well, we actually have a costume expert here with us. So, see what you think, Rachel. What do you think of this costume? Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, it's very much like wanting to be empowered, and almost to the point of like, this is supposed to be female empowerment. She's being raised by the Dryads, which I'm assuming are more female oriented. Yeah. So it's very much, she doesn't dress to please any man because men aren't there. So it's just strange to me. I don't think the nipples are intentional. I think it's just cheaply made, because like all the women's outfits so far have been basically like sports bras to suppress boobs. Like, we haven't gotten any cleavage in ages. So to just try it with this character who's such a super bitch, I really don't know why they would even try. So I think it's unintentional, but I think just, that aside, this costume sucks. A lot of the costumes suck, but this one,
that makes sense.
I think this is probably one of the worst costumes, though.
And one of the worst characters. She's had one episode and one scene.
she doesn't seem to get along with anybody at all.
Even the Queen of the Dryads.
Yes, the people who took her as a refugee.
Well, again, her introduction is so poor.
Now,
He wants us to care about this character and her performance and her abilities. Like, introduce us to this character. You've done it with other people. You just, like, plop somebody in like a fucking turd. And we're just supposed to, like, care about her.
Her existence is to demean Geralt. At least this version of her. That's all she's there for. She's not there to be a character you're going to like. She's not there to be the character you know from the books. She is there to be a Whammons to keep Geralt in his place.
Well, yeah, because he's no longer with Yennefer and Ciri. So, yeah, they needed a new Whammon to keep him in line. But, Adam, I think it was you who pointed out while we were watching it together. It looks like she's chewing gum in this scene. I don't know how you can see it.
I remember that.
She's just casually chewing through all of this. I'm sure she ate something. I'm sure it's like a date or some fruit or something. But she's just casually chewing. It's really weird. But let's move forward. This episode is just so boring. In a series of boring episodes, we've got perhaps a winner here with just nothing happening. Jaskier and Geralt just talking about how sad and broken Geralt is. And for some reason, we get Kraken, Crate, and Yennefer talking to each other. This is something that happens later and not even like this. Like, Yennefer does start to investigate the disappearance or the death of Pavetta and Dooney, Ciri's parents, in Skellige. But that's a ways away because during the coup at Thanet, she gets compressed down into a figurine and disappears from the story for the rest of the book. So I don't even know what they're trying to accomplish. Why is she here? Why does she want to be here? What is happening? What is the point of this? Like, I can't tell you why the scene exists. Even with her change where she's still in the rest of the season, I don't get what this accomplishes or why.
They're trying to copy the video game in a very bad way.
It's Skellige. Come on, gamers. You remember Skellige, don't you?
Yeah. Isn't that the dude from Rome that brought the white bird?
I don't know if Rome, but he's in Valhalla. So
He was in Game of Thrones too. He was the guy that was fighting with Jaime Lannister in that cave.
Yeah, he's a good actor, and I think he's definitely a better Kraken Crate than the one we got in season 1, but we haven't really seen much of him at this point. Yeah, the Kraken Crate in season 1 was so poorly miscast. A clean-shaven Skellige is not going to work. It's not going to work. But and for some reason, they're bringing back the whole investigation of the melted chicks. That Geralt
melted.
Yeah. Let's go back there. Why? That's over. It's done.
And Philippa's helping them, and they're okay with that.
Yeah, I know.
Because in the next book, they start to form the Lodge of Sorceresses, and they think that Yennefer was working with Nilfgaard because she disappears. And she wasn't working with them. They assume she's one of the Nilfgaardian traitors, Gilgaforts. And so they take a ton of convincing to even let her come to the initial discussion about the Lodge of Sorcerers.
Yep.
Philippa, kind of the same deal. No one trusts Philippa right now. She just caused a coup. And they're just like, it's all good.
It's all cool, girls. Sisters. We're all girls here. So
yeah, it was literally because of
all's forgiven.
It's like, well, even though I don't agree with you guys, they tried to kill all of us, so intruders, blah, so my sisters, here we are. And it's like, wait, but you just tried to are you serious? It's like,
it's not how women work, right, Rachel? Like, that's not how we work. Just because we're the same gender, even though what is gender today, but like, that's not how it works. You have good people, bad people, people you relate to, people you don't relate to, and have those divides in your show, which are perfectly done in the book. You have women going against each other. Why is that so hard to portray? Jesus Christ!
Sure, women hold grudges and they would kill each other. They want to kill her.
I think we can all agree that okay, well, you literally tried to put a knife in my back. So even though they're worse than you, I don't trust you. So no, we're not going to be buddies. I'm just going to walk away from all you idiots. You know, it's like it doesn't work like that. Like, oh well, it's they're trying to do the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and it's just it's not working.
Pathetic. It's dumb and pathetic
attack.
and very superficial. It doesn't
They don't
work.
understand it, though, Ryan. That's the thing. They do not understand it.
Well, and while we're talking about the scene, this entire season, Philippa has had awful costumes, but this one might take the cake. I want to try to get a good shot of what she's wearing, but everyone else is wearing the same type of costume they've been wearing this whole time, but Philippa decides she's.
I thought that's Margarita, no?
Margarita's the black
that's
right here. She's wearing the same thing. Now Philippa right here, trying to get a good shot of it. But
hey,
everyone's wearing
it's a power pantsuit.
Like all the frills out front.
Oh, okay.
It's like they can't decide if it's casual riding clothes, where it'd be like pants, a tight jacket, you know, like a stuff that they can get dirty, or a fancy blouse with that weird shit coming out the front, the ruffles.
Yeah, the ruffles.
Good.
Well,
This
couldn't
is the
put,
mod that got taken out of Hogwarts Legacy, okay?
They couldn't put body positivity, Marguerite, and Kira in that kind of thing, so they had to put it on Philippa.
Oh yeah, and then there's
Kira. Oh god.
Yeah, that's Kira Metz. Yeah, that's not the Kira Metz that I boned in Witcher 3. That's not her.
Yeah,
I went for it. Every opportunity I took in Witcher 3, I went there.
Yeah, that's not Margarita from the books or the games. It's not Kira from the books or the games. Rita, not from the books. She sort of in the third game, not really, not worth mentioning. Definitely not Yennefer. Definitely not Philippa. Definitely not Triss. Triss. Dead by this book. By the end of this book, so she's not in the games. It's very disappointing, and I don't even care. We've mentioned a lot about this stuff with Frigilla and Amir, and they're just terrible.
God,
Does anyone have anything to say about it?
What is he wearing? What is that?
It's cockeyed.
It's trash.
It's the
It's
dumbest
what it
design
is.
for armor I've seen yet, and we've already talked about what's her face.
About
this is Amazon. This is Netflix trying to show Amazon they can do worse armor.
It doesn't make that armor makes no sense. Why is he wearing any greaves? I mean, I'm just walking around with my chest plate.
Yeah. Well, it also kind of looks like a dick. And that was the whole thing about season 1, the Nilfgaardian armor, where the penis armor with the weird mounded heads, and then their breastplates were all wrinkly like a scrotum, and they thought it was hilarious to make the Nilfgaardians walk around.
Amir should not even be wearing armor because he is confident about his plan, so he should be comfortable in his normal clothing because he is so smart and he knows what he's doing.
I don't get any intelligence or intimidation, more importantly, from Amir at all. Like, you should be terrified in a room with Amir. Even Geralt at the in Lady of the Lake, when he talks to Amir, is terrified.
Yeah, he's terrified of him.
He's terrified.
What is it? How are you going to be? What is this? He's got a love heart on his belly. What?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that is.
When I spoke to Amir at the beginning of Witcher 3, I was a snotty dick.
Most people are. And
yeah.
I don't have much to say about this scene about Fringilla's sudden change to, I'm going to be Amir's lapdog again, but I'm going to bring down Amir. And to get Francesca on her side, she confesses that she's the one who killed Francesca's baby. None of which was in the books. The whole, like, elves can't make babies things.
No.
No. What the hell?
She's like, well, it was his plan, and she's like, you knew all along. And it's like, but we're still gonna be buddies afterwards. Like, okay,
women power.
We can still scissor me timbers. It's okay.
It's like, okay, so you helped kill my child, but now we're gonna be buddies and bring down, like, really? Like, does this kind of stuff just roll off everybody's back? I kind of feel like having somebody be part of the plan to assassinate your child and succeed means I'm going to rip your fucking throat out. Like, it's terrible.
Look at him. He's not intimidating. He looks like my local guy at the hipster coffee
He looks
shop.
like a barista, yeah.
I know
He looks like a
people that
barista
if you
who have
hit,
a man bun.
I know people that if you hit or push their kid down will kill you.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yeah, but
like I said during
whatever.
our
You know?
watch along, I should be terrified of this guy.
But sister power, right? Sisters.
Charles Dance for the game was the perfect casting.
Great.
That is just. I cannot think of a single person better. Yes, he can't do it live action because
You know, the guy Charles Dance was brilliant and is Lannister too, but Tywin Lannister, but also the dude in The Crow, the main villain in The Crow.
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
I know
remember
who you're
him?
talking about. I don't remember. his name.
And he was also in Robin Hood.
Yep.
Been a long time.
He played Guy Gisborne.
He was just so menacing. He was such a great villain. Like, I do not want to mess with this dude. Like, I don't want to be in the room with this guy.
I mean, you had Henry Cavill. Could you not like spare a little bit of money and bring in Charles Dance? Like, seriously?
Charles Dance is too old at this point.
I mean, yeah. I guess it's a good point. But would you rather have Charles Dance, who's too old, or fucking barista Bob over there, who looks like a fucking puss?
It's a good point. Because the timeline of The Witcher doesn't make any sense after season 1, where they made the whole season take place over. I think the final estimate was over 50 years for season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So Dandelion should be ancient. He wasn't introduced in the Yennefer stuff, so he's not quite 50 years. But at this point in the show, Jaskier's like 47. And so in the show, they've made Emir have to be in his 50s, even though he's not that old at this point in the books.
Details, schmeetails.
It's just so all over the place. Jaskier. So yeah, they had a 47-year-old character with a 20-year-old boy toy that they aged up from a 12-year-old.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Inclusion.
Well, you just be glad they aged him up to like 20 instead of like, you know.
In original draft they didn't age him up at all. You know it.
I guarantee they probably didn't.
You know, you think we can get away with this? And then at the last minute, somebody says, "Dude."
Who do we have in today's acting pool that could actually pull a hit off with age being the consideration?
Gary Oldman.
I could maybe. I think.
Gary
Oldman's
Oldman's got 1 foot in 60s, isn't he?
He's got 1 foot in retirement right now. He's publicly said he's got 1 foot.
Yeah, he's a little. Gary Oldman, I would say, is probably too old.
Yeah, he's a little on the older side too. I mean, I wouldn't turn my nose up at, but
yeah, but he's a good actor.
We've had conversations like this. There's nobody left.
No,
there's nobody left.
That's why they're so afraid of the AI.
We're in the kiddie pool filled with piss right now. That's where we are. That's how deep it is.
I would agree. I think that really good actors are literally there are so many less than there used to be, and the talent pool is literally the kiddie pool full of fucking urine. It's that bad.
That's why I cast Jensen Ackles and everything, because he's one of the good ones left.
No,
yeah, I love Jensen Ackles and The Boys. I thought he did a great job. I don't think the show's phenomenal. It's got a lot of problems,
especially
politically based. But
Matt Smith could have done it.
Matt Smith is the mirror?
Yep.
No.
Put the right makeup on him, or somebody that's good at makeup.
No. He's too
Yeah, I would agree with Anna. I don't see Matt Smith as being able to be a mirror. I think Matt Smith would make a good Kahir, maybe.
Kahir, yes, definitely. Kahir would be brilliant. Amir, who would be a good Amir?
Anna, I would cast Gary Oldman as Regis.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Alan Rickman would have been great if he were still alive as Amir back in the day.
He's too gentle. You need
Alan
somebody
Rickman would have seen
more
this
imposing.
piece of dog poop a million miles away and said, "No thanks."
Yeah.
You need somebody who is more imposing as has that like.
There's just
I don't know.
Hugo Weaving, maybe.
No, he's no.
Yeah, he's too old even.
Well,
Yeah.
there's age and there's a certain masculinity too in the air that I don't think that Hugo Weaving quite has enough of.
God, we really are running out of actors that can play a bad guy good.
Well, I mean, you literally have to kind of say, okay, well, they have to have basically Charles Dance presence, but not be as old as he is, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really fucking tall order. And I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I feel like we're losing really good actors at a stunning rate. They're retiring, they're dying. I mean, I think Hollywood is running dry of good actors. I mean, who's probably one of the last great movie stars? Tom Cruise, right? Like, and most people say, will say, "Oh, I'm going to go see the new Tom Cruise movie." Chris Pratt, I think, draws people to the movie theaters. I think Henry Cavill can draw people to the movie theaters. I don't think it'd be the rate of Tom Cruise, but you're talking about star power is very limited. I just don't know. I don't think there's. I think you'd have to find somebody who's unknown, who has that presence.
Yeah.
Well, then you could actually draw from Netflix's own pool because the Medici, which I've tried to get Jed to watch, I don't know the guy's name because he's not A-list Hollywood, but a lot of the actors that are coming out of some of the Italian productions, the European productions, they're really good and they're young, but they're just not American, so they're not named.
Yeah.
Right.
I would look at foreign markets a lot. Like if I were casting, I would dig very, very much into Slavic and European heritage. That would be an important thing to me. And so finding a lesser known Polish actor, for example, who had the presence and knew English well enough, I would definitely consider that. But
yeah,
let's move on. Otherwise, this entire stream will become a casting deal. And at this point, we've come up with very few legitimate names and no good final casting. So this is not going to really go anywhere. But
Well,
the next,
also at the same rate, this show is probably dead on arrival now.
oh, absolutely. The next scene I want to talk about, I don't care about the Verdanian stuff and killing the king. It's bullshit.
Yeah, that was
This
stupid.
scene, just like the Skellige stuff with Yennefer, I don't understand what's going on here. Because initially when I saw this in the trailers and initially when the scene started, I figured this was a vision that Geralt was having. He was hallucinating Yennefer.
I told you when we were watching it, she's there. I said, she's
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
She specifically offers him information that he didn't know, Tasaya being dead. So Yennefer's actually here. Why isn't she spending more time with him? Why is she spending time doing the Lodge of Sorceresses, which is going to accomplish nothing?
Don't understand.
Why isn't she here? Why does she show up for 2 seconds at night to say, "Oh, by the way, the girl I was in love with more than you is dead now"? Well, thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. You've accomplished much. And even her knowing where Geralt is, because Jaskier finds out that he's in Brocculon from Yennefer at the beginning of the last episode, or this episode, excuse me. Why she should not know where he is? Because if their characterization is the same that we've seen in the show or in the books, she should go immediately to him. They just said "I love you" for the first time a day ago. She should care. She should care, but she's like, you know what? I'll send your boyfriend Jaskier to check up on you. I'll come by in the middle of the night in a few weeks and just make sure you're not dead yet and tell you about my girlfriend being dead. But that's all that I'm going to care about. You nearly dying.
Why didn't she heal him?
She did.
Well, yeah, because his back is still broken. He's still fucked up. He's literally laying on a deathbed.
But
Yeah.
she heals him here, or does she come back later and heal him?
She says,
I have to be honest with you, like that whole relationship, people are praising that they have such chemistry. It pisses me off. Their whole relationship from season 1 has always pissed me off. I don't know why. In the game, the relationship between Geralt or even in the book, like their relationship pisses me off. It frustrates me. It's just not something like I don't like the fact that because of this genie and they have this connection and they are in love with each other and Geralt is in this show, it's almost like he's a little bitch.
Yeah, in the show, it's terrible. In the books and the games,
Oh, he cries again too, which is great.
I love Yennefer as a character, but I hate her as a person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Agree. Why I have to do 2 different game styles for The Witcher 3. There's an enjoyment play style where I just choose the decisions I want to make, and I'm going to get with Triss every single time. But then there's a lore accurate playthrough where I'd like, all right, what would Geralt actually say in this? This isn't me. This is Geralt. And I get with Yennefer every one of those times because I think they're great as a couple, and it makes sense why they're together, and I love her as a character. But Yennefer can be a bitch. And Mustang can speak to that. There's a whole short story in Sword of Destiny where she's basically trying to juggle Geralt with another man and gets upset when Geralt's like, wait, you're fucking another dude? Seriously? She's like, yeah, I want my cake and eat it too. Why can't you let me have that? She's a bitch.
Yeah.
But I still love her character. I absolutely adore Yennefer. And the show, I don't think they've characterized in any manner that makes any sense.
No.
Well, I don't think they characterized Triss very well either, because she's the one who ultimately brings him here and then just leaves him. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't. Uh-oh. What I triggered?
Yeah.
Anna wants to say stuff about it, don't you?
Well, in the books, I go between Triss and Ciri as my 2 favorite characters. But in the show, in the show, I don't give a shit anymore.
I agree.
Yep.
I actually still kind of liked the way Ciri was portrayed in the beginning of season 2. She was still very naive. She was still trying to but after her training session, which was horseshit, by the way, that was absolutely just a joke. After that, she turned into this like girl boss, and it's never looked back.
Yeah, that's definitely where the transition happened. She does an obstacle course for a couple days, and she's the
So
best.
basically what that teaches little girls is that you need to go to a CrossFit training course for 3 days, and then you can kick dudes' asses for the rest of your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's great.
It literally makes no sense. It's cheap writing. It's lazy. You have characters that should care about each other more in this show that don't, and it just feels hollow. It feels very hollow.
Yeah.
Interesting take on that, Anna. And really, I knew a jiu-jitsu teacher that every time he'd get his first class in, about the 3rd week in, his students had the balls of steel. And after class, he had some other students pick on them. They didn't know who they were. The next time they came into class after getting their ass whipped, they were all fully dressed out. All of them were black belts. And his lesson was real simple. You don't know shit, and somebody's always better than you.
Exactly.
And Ciri in the books learned that lesson.
A hard way.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Yes, a very hard way.
Monarch comes in. She thinks with the rat Ciri's ego gets hyperinflated. In the next book, she thinks she's great. She
gets raped at the end of the day.
Yeah, she does get raped at the end of this book.
So
and decimates rats on his own, including
Can you show this Netflix? Of course you can't. Why? Because
it's a lesbian rape, so of course they can't show it.
Yeah, that is definitely something I don't think I've seen on Netflix.
All right,
Probably not. No, probably not.
I want to move on to this scene because, yes, there are lore arguments to be made with this scene, but I just want to focus on the show for a second. What the hell is happening? When did we set up that this girl had been taken? And last we saw this girl, she was with the druid and the werewolf, which isn't from the books, and they were going to take care of her. That's the last I remember seeing her. And suddenly Amir has her and is accepting that she's fake, that she's the real Ciri, and is presenting her to the court.
Yeah.
When was this scene? Did I miss an entire episode?
I still don't understand the scene. There's something we had to have missed something.
There has to be context missing because it makes zero sense.
Because in the books, this makes sense. So at the beginning of the book, Geralt goes to the lawyers, Codbringer and Ben, and they suggest giving a fake Ciri to Amir because somebody's got to don't let it be your daughter. Geralt, of course, says no, but the Redanian intelligence with Dijkstra and Philippa, they find out about this idea and they think it's a good idea, so they go through with it. And so they give a fake Ciri to the Nilfgaardians, which eventually finds her way to Amir. But because Amir knows Ciri and Dijkstra didn't know that, he immediately recognizes that it's not Ciri, but he's going to play along with it because he needs the power that Ciri
exactly. Yeah.
But he knows it's false. And that's when he orders that both Cahir and Ryans be captured and imprisoned for failing for 2 books at this point to capture Ciri. And that's what sets Cahir off on his own to join the party in the next book. And Ryans to have his back and forth with Tawny Allo and eventually come with Ciri in 2 books from now. But that's
okay, and where, like, you just explained it, right?
Yeah, pretty much explained it in less than a minute.
Where is this being explained to people who have not read the source material or the book?
Not.
Like, what? It's difficult because I understand what's going on, but for me, like, as somebody who's done film and gone to like film school, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what? There's a chunk missing. There's something missing here.
I'm wondering if either like it was explained very casually, like really quickly somewhere else that we all missed, or if it was like an entire scene where they explained it and they just cut it out.
I think it's on the editing floor.
I get the argument for the editing floor, but the reason why I question that theory, at least, is because of the way this scene was filmed. Because the entire scene, they're strategically not showing you Ciri's face, because the last time we saw Ciri, she fell unconscious, so she might have been captured. So they spend this whole scene not showing you this Ciri's face, and then it's a dramatic reveal when it's the fake Ciri, because all the whole time she's walking up, just see the back of her head, and it's a dramatic reveal that it's the fake Ciri and not the real Ciri. Like this shot here, they want you to believe it could be Ciri. So that feels like intentional at filming. So if it was a cut scene, it's most likely in the writing room where they cut it, not on the editing room floor.
But you'd have to be extremely retarded to believe that that's the real Ciri.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense, especially because Ciri was, still captured, right? She was still yeah, so I mean they took a huge jump and it just didn't make any sense. So unless they were gonna ignore the logic of, space and time and travel,
which they've done a lot.
It just I didn't necessarily buy it. I was like, there's no way.
Plus, you build up Ciri's character as somebody who is not going to be captured. She's like, fuck off, I'm gonna fight you and I'm gonna like swing my sword. And I'm so like anti anybody grabbing me. And now we're supposed to believe she's like just willingly playing some game where she's walking into a court. Come on. Stupid.
All I could think about when I saw this scene is the Valarians want their wig back.
Yeah.
That's literally all I could think about.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've well enough established that there is no way the scene makes any sense.
No.
Without context. So that's pretty much all we can say about it. I want to move on to the introduction of the rats. And so for those of you who don't know either the books or the news, these characters that swoop in to save Ciri here are going to be leading their own season spin-off called the Riff Raff, which is going to be a prequel to these events, it looks like.
Is this a confirmed title?
Riff Raff is the shooting title, at least.
Riff Raff and the Alley Cats.
Has it been filmed yet? Because this makes it look like they were going to try to squeeze it between season 3 and 4.
They were going to film for 6 months, but 2 months into filming, they stopped. They were filming in South Africa, but last month they stopped shooting.
Okay.
So they're halfway through production, basically.
It looks like they were going to wedge it between season 3 and 4. That's what I was getting. They were trying to shoot that spin-off, yeah.
Yep, that's been the plan with The Witcher from the beginning is 1 year main show, 1 year spinoff, 1 year main show, spinoff, and so on and so forth. And so right now there are 2 spin-offs that are in development, and one of them's nearly done. So we've got the Riff Raff spin-off, which is supposedly supposed to come next year. At this point with the delays, there's no way it's coming next year.
Can't wait, guys.
We've got season 4, which was supposed to go into production in September, but was recently halted, most likely because of the strikes. And there's the animated movie Sirens of the Deep, even though it's an adaptation of a story with mermaids. They think sirens and mermaids are the same thing. And that's why Siri sings that song, The Little Sacrifice in the Desert, in the last episode. That's a reference to the short story where that Sirens of the Deep is adapting, which may or may not be what we actually see Henry Cavill in the last, because Geralt is in that story, and the voice acting is already done. So we don't know if it's Liam Hemsworth or Henry Cavill in the animated movie coming, or just some random person who they just brought in to do it for the animated movie. But that's a lot of Witcher stuff that is pretty heavily into production at this point, that it might take a little while to cancel. That's my opinion here, is that there's just a lot of things in motion to the degree that they can't quite cancel it yet, even if this season does that bad. They've invested too much.
I mean, I would mostly agree. I mean, I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes, though. I'll tell you what, man, people are ripping this thing apart. I'm seeing, except for, you get a couple of, the shills and stuff like, oh my God, 5 stars. And I'm like, yeah, okay. The majority is like a half a star to 1.5 stars. It'll go half star, 1.5, 1 star, half a star, half a star. I mean, it was wild to see. People are just dunking on this everywhere. Even on Facebook, on the Netflix thing, any Witcher video, Henry Cavill deserved better. Not watching this without Henry Cavill. On Twitter, the same thing. These are the official Netflix, pages too on these sites. Same with Instagram. People are everywhere just pissed about this. So I don't think the shills are going to save them on this one.
No, there's not enough of them. But we are getting very close to the end of this episode and the end of the stream. I'm just excited to stop talking about this. But the last scene that I want to talk about before we get to Cavill's final scene and the final scene of the episode.
Oh my God.
With the rats here, because in the books, Missile did not show up in episode 2 or chapter 2 and help Ciri fight a wyvern. That makes no logical sense. And just the coincidence of Missile meeting her there and then meeting her down here on the edge of the Korath Desert. For context, for those of you who don't know the geography of the continent, that's the equivalent of meeting someone in, I don't know, Denmark, and then a couple days later, coincidentally meeting them on the edge of the Sahara Desert. One of you had to teleport there to get there in time. The other person just kind of happened to make the distance and happened to run into you.
Oh, my favorite part too is like, well, when she's like, let's see how you do against a human this time. It's like, because
it's insufferable.
Because a wyvern's probably not more dangerous even as a juvenile.
Wyvern's worse. But there's just so much wrong with Missile being earlier in the show, that just the logic of that, her randomly being like, this random girl who I saw kill a wyvern, it's time to prove yourself. Let's let this man live and let Ciri do it. And Ciri's taking time to torture him and play with him. It's just really weird. And what's worse than that, in the next book, it's Stockholm-y. It's not a healthy relationship. In fact, it's a terrible relationship.
Yeah.
Ciri and Missile are lesbians together. And they're going to portray that as a perfect, beautiful relationship. Oh, isn't so great that Ciri's gay? Yay, yay, yay. The first relationship we see her in a show. But at the end of this book, Anne and I mentioned it, that rat that was imprisoned with Ciri at the beginning of the scene, he goes to Ciri at the end of the book and tries to sexually assault her. But Missile steps in and prevents him, sparing her. But then she sexually assaults Ciri in payment for protecting her. It's like, I protected you, now give it to me, basically.
Yeah.
And that creates a Stockholm relationship with Missile and Ciri. At least they don't call it Stockholm, obviously, but that's my interpretation of why they're a couple. And the next one is Ciri is relying on them for survival. And Missile is an interesting character, but they're portraying her as another bestest ever, girl power, can do no wrong, loving lesbian relationship in the next one.
Scissor me timbers.
Well, and I do want to point out this person here. In real life, she has the most vibrant green short hair possible. So that's the reason she's wearing this to cover her hair, because she wasn't willing to dye her hair. Or
Who
you know
is
what
that?
happens in the real
What?
world? You know what happens? I'm sorry. What's wrong with that? You know what happens before they, like 20 years ago? You're fired. You know, you're not gonna adapt and follow your contract that you signed. No, you're fired. Next. That's what happens. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
that's just one of the rats, Anna. She because they're in South Africa. They're filming, and she still got the green short hair.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Bye, Biggles. See you later.
Take care, Biggles.
Bad Biggles.
Does anyone have any final thoughts of series' last scene and the first scene with all the rats?
No.
It was stupid. She was
No.
she was literally fighting the
I
guy.
don't really
and they're like,
care
oh my
if she lives or dies at this point.
They're like, oh my god, she's playing with him, and then all of a sudden she kills him and she starts
Don't
crying.
care.
I'm like, wait, so you're toying with him and torturing him, but then you're gonna cry? Like, okay, it made no sense. So it was trash.
Pretty well thumbs it up. And we've talked a lot throughout the stream of this final fight with Henry, so we don't need to rehash it necessarily. But I just want to point out here, this is the final shot of Henry Cavill's Geralt we're ever going to see. Do you guys believe that this is the perfect transition point? As all the Netflix people said, this is a great way to set up a lore accurate transition. There's no better place to switch actors than right here with him wandering into the woods.
No.
No, that was awful. It was
know what they're gonna
awful.
do?
It was disrespectful. And it was just not done in a good way. No.
And they're gonna pick up right where this happened. He's gonna walk around the side of that horse, and it's gonna be discount Hemsworth. That's what it's gonna be.
But they've said that they're going to use lore to explain the recast. They're writing in the recast and going to use the multiverse to do it and multiple perspectives to do it. I don't get how they're going to do that unless they had Henry there. Like, that's why I thought when we started watching Volume 2 that they would have Liam at the end of the season and that they would show the transition. But if they're not going to have, unless Henry coming back for 5 minutes at the beginning of Season 4, there's no way that they can write it in. It's insanity.
It's insanity that we're in this boat, that they're in this boat in the first place.
They hired someone who hates the source material, who rejected the job on multiple occasions before eventually accepting, and then specifically sought out writers who know nothing about the source material. She would not hire someone if they'd read the books before.
And she actively hates the main actor, who is a prominent name, who loves the source material, and actually does an excellent job. And she just pissed all over him.
He was willing to write for them. They should have let him showrun it. I don't know how well he would have done to showrun it, but he would at least have cared and got the right people.
Well, I mean, he's the one who, the death of Roach. He's the one
The one good scene from Season 2, in my opinion.
Yes. He's the one who did that. And then, of course, the showrunner, she's like, okay, Henry, you just do you. I trust you. And it's like, she was going to make it a joke.
She was going to make jokes.
Well, we're going to find out how good Henry can run a show.
Yep, with the Warhammer.
Well, here's the thing also. I mean, we can go all the way back to Season 1. And while I didn't despise Season 1, I wasn't in love with it. I thought it was okay. But I knew there was something completely wrong when the first time we see him, he doesn't have two swords on his back. How hard is it to just have the iconic look of two swords on his back?
It's really not hard. And that bothered me too. I was like, why doesn't he have two swords on his back?
Rarely seen with two swords. There's one shot in this season where he has two swords.
And he switched, and they make it so that he just switches it out on the saddle. Oh, I'm going to switch it out. Whatever.
Yeah, that's
Well,
that whole
work on the fly. Scene with Roach too, like he pushed for that, didn't he? Because she didn't want, she wanted to make fun of it, like, oh, the horse died, and he's the one who said, no, this is actually Roach is extremely important to me, even though I have multiple roaches throughout my career as the Witcher. I love my horse; it's my companion, and he had to push. Why would you need to push for that? That's just something that even to the most, two brain cells, right?
Yeah.
People would love this in the audience, a scene with Henry Cavill speaking to a horse. and saying goodbye to a horse. How difficult is that to comprehend?
It's not, because Roach is like his best friend. He talks to Roach. I mean,
exactly.
The horse responds back to him. You see that easily in the show. It's really not that difficult to understand. But she's so massively retarded, or she literally hates this stuff so much that she's like, I don't really care. We're just gonna make fun of it.
Well, you're all bringing great points. The things that people love about this franchise is Geralt fighting monsters. Like Anna, when we were watching Volume 1, the one time you got excited is when he took his potion and was getting ready to fight before they cut away and ruined the moment, right?
Yep.
And so they had the perfect opportunity to set up the show just like the books did. So the books, the first collection of short stories, is just Geralt having standalone adventures before they introduce Yennefer in the final one. That's what we should have gotten, is just Monster of the Week at first, just to make sure we knew Geralt, we knew the world building.
And you don't even need to have Monster of the Week. You don't need to do it like a supernatural TV show when you have Monster of the episode, every single time. You can like develop the characters, develop those monsters. You can have like going into like a village and people talking about stuff, and Geralt can the whole like perception of him being as the Witcher, and people don't like him and people don't want to be around him because he's like a freak, and then still like giving him a job and him going around like doing like detective work, and then actually culminating to like murdering that monster.
I just mean standalone Geralt stories by Monster of the Week.
Like that would have been so cool.
You either give people what they want at first, give them a lot of it, make sure they establish the world, the characters, and then just like in the books, you went from a book that is 100% Geralt focus to, after 7-8 books, transitioning into series focus, because we've gotten what we love, and now we get a chance to slowly introduce this.
You bring up a point, Jed. Now, Jed, Mustang, you guys are the ones here who can most attest to this. How do I feel about serialized television? You
serialized television?
Yeah, like serialized storytelling. How do I feel about that? I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I grew up on episodic television. I had this place, but I love it. I like it. I like serialized television because I like overarching stories.
Mm-hmm.
What we have here is an instance where, as you just described, episodic television would have been the best way to start, because you had it self-contained, simple, in and out. You can pick it up wherever you want. You're not going to lose or miss anything. And you have people who are incapable of writing serialized storytelling, trying to tell a serialized story, an overarching story. And that's what this is. These are incompetent people who don't know how to tell a story. And if they can't tell it in an episodic form, they definitely can't do it in a serialized form. And what you laid out would have been great. Episodic, serialized into next season, go forward with serialized, and then you're involved. But see, we could see this, we can comprehend it, because throughout everybody here, we have a full evaluation and a full conceptualization of what this should look like and how it should be, because we understand the lore, we understand every facet of this franchise between all of us here. These people don't, like you just said, they don't care about the source material. They don't want people to know about the source material. They're going to run the one person out of this who could be the face of this for 7, 8, 9 goddamn seasons. You realize they could have squeezed 7 to 9 seasons out of this with Henry Cavill as the front man. Finally, Henry Cavill getting, and like Ryan said, Henry Cavill is a great front man. He should be front man. He's just never had something that is stuck. He should have been Superman for over a decade, but they shadow over that. He could have been Geralt for over a decade, but no, sorry, we want the Yennefer and Ciri show. So this is what you get when you get people who don't know how to do their job and don't care to bring in people who could possibly teach them and at least be the people in the background making it look like they know how to do their job.
Yeah.
And now you can't put the genie back in the bottle because it's ruined.
Yep. It's done.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to hit as Gary puts it, a lot franchises have a 20-year cycle. Witcher can't come back now, besides video game, different mediums, can't come back to film or television for another 20 years now, because they blew their load this time, and people are just going to be disinterested
You
until
had the perfect
taste fades.
Geralt. You had the perfect live action Geralt, and you squandered him. Just as they squandered him as Superman.
It's
Yeah.
incompetency as much as agenda. I think this shows the perfect example that incompetency is just as relevant, if not even more so in this case, than agenda. Because I do believe Lauren Histridge is a vindictive person when it comes to this franchise. She hates that she's been saddled with it, that it's her defining legacy at this point. That's what she's known for. And so I do believe that there's malice and agenda with it, but more than anything else, she just doesn't know how to write any of this. She's never done fantasy before. We need people who have experience in fantasy writing a show like this. Like I think House of the Dragon is good. I don't love it like a lot of people. I think there are issues with it, especially the Rainy stuff when she bursts out of the fighting pit with the dragon killer.
Oh yeah, big problem.
That was terrible, but there's a lot of greatness with it. So at this point, I would be relatively interested to see a reboot of The Witcher with those showrunners because they know fantasy. They know strong male characters like Daemon, like Viserys. They know how to respect the source material as well, on top of expanding on it because Fire and Blood doesn't give them a whole lot. So
No.
it's just you need someone who has history with a franchise this large. With any prominent franchise, you need to hire people who are qualified and have experience in the type of writing as much as writing in general. Because like with Doctor Who in season 10, before it got really bad, before Timeless Children, there's an episode written by a woman who's never written an episode of television in
her life. Yeah.
Sci-fi, fantasy, nothing. All she is a feminist nonfiction writer. And she's tasked to write an episode about witches in King James's England. It's insane. It's insane the level of incompetence that these people are targeting. These studios are targeting people who have no experience. Just with Marvel as well, they're hiring directors who have zero experience, coming straight out of college in some cases. And it's just baffling. If these companies were just maniacal business, money, 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 I could at least respect that perspective because they would know where to go with the money. They would know to hire good people because that's how you get the most money. But
right.
This next level stupidity choosing these people because you're not even getting money out of it.
They're getting a different kind of currency, ESG.
And I think one of the greatest examples that happened, and this is a horrible thing that happened, but with that Titan thing that imploded, the submersible, like that dude hired people because not of their experience, but because he wants to hire people who are diverse and young and had no experience.
Yeah. So he look for an all-white crew, even if they were qualified.
Yeah,
and that's the first time that the Titanic has taken lives in over 100 years.
Exactly. Like that should be a lesson to everybody. Like you can always be diverse. You can always, but that's not your standard for hiring something for something that actually needs to be good quality. It's not ever, because I was in charge of hiring people, and it was if you are a good writer, you're a good journalist, I'm going to hire you. If you write good, if you report good. I don't care what color, I don't even know what color you are, or what race you are, or what gender you are.
It's not important. It's qualifications. And when it comes to casting as well, if you write it into the lore or write it into the story, race swaps can be justifiable. I don't agree with the justification in House of the Dragon, but a lot of people who know the books do. With the race swaps in The Witcher, for example, focusing on diversity rather than talent in actors, there is one race swap in the entire show that I'm okay with because it makes sense in the lore. I hate the actress they got, but Missile being black, I think, has a good enough foundation.
Yeah, it works.
At the edge of the Korath Desert, which is the Sahara. So it would make sense that maybe she is sub-Saharan. Maybe she's from the other side. We don't know a lot about her, but we meet her right next to the Sahara, right next to the Korath Desert. So that's justifiable. She's not described, as far as I'm aware, in enough detail to know what race she is. That is one race swap that I'm totally okay with because it makes sense in the story. But that's 1 out of 100. It's a great track record, Netflix. And it was accidentally accurate.
Yeah, but you got also, when you talk about House of Dragon, George himself approved of it. You can't go against the author.
That's not always a get out of jail free card, in my opinion, because there are actors or writers who are bastardizing their own material, like Rick Riordan. Yeah, where I was about to go Rick Riordan in the Disney Plus show. Christopher Paolini's also doing a Disney Plus show right now. There are examples of writers getting involved with television show adaptations and helping with the tearing down of their franchise.
Did you hear about Patty Constantine not getting an Emmy Award?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, heard.
That's insane.
It is insane.
That as much as I don't love House of the Dragon, him and Damien are just immaculate. Their performances are next level. And out of the TV show performances, Viserys was easily the best of that year.
He had 3 Oscar performances that I called out on that. 3 times.
Him walking through the hallway, through the hall as an old man is probably. Yeah. There were more people that I heard talk about that saying that they had tears running down their face. I mean, than anything I have heard being emotional in, I don't know, the last couple of years. I mean, that scene alone, and a mistake. The crown falling off of his head was a mistake, and Damon picking it up and putting it on his head should have been 2 Emmys right there.
Yeah, it shows the brilliance of the directors and the producers not to stop it when that happened and just said, "Let it go. Let's see what happens."
Yeah,
I think the problem is Patty Constantine's old white dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
They both are. Yes.
Yeah, Matt Smith, white dude too. Can't have too many of those winning.
Well, and they're British.
That's why Oppenheimer as a very Oscar bait movie. I know a lot of people have a lot of thoughts on Oppenheimer. It's very much. He didn't do it as an Oscar bait movie, but it's a movie that should do well at the Oscars back in the day. It's not.
I do hope that Cillian Murphy does win an Oscar for this.
It can't.
He cannot. Not like. Come on.
But the movie didn't qualify because of their diversity.
They can't even nominate. The movie can't even be nominated, Anna.
Yep.
Nothing in the movie can be nominated because it wasn't diverse enough. The new Oscar rules, so he can't be nominated for an Oscar.
The people complaining about there wasn't enough diversity. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Do you want more Japanese people in it? Yeah. I mean, do you really want to be that insensitive? Like, get out of here. Are you shitting me?
It's history.
Like,
it's the Oscars are dead.
Movie based off real people. You can't have artificial diversity in it. The only way you get more diversity is if you show a bunch of Japanese people getting bombed.
Probably not a good call.
Probably not a good call.
I don't know. We could have shown the surrender on the Missouri. I mean, that would have gave us a little bit of diversity.
Well, I mean, remember the
not a great light
thing? Of course, we can diversify history.
Oh
now.
Yeah, the Cleopatra miniseries.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess for me,
evidence.
You know, for me, I just looked it up. When this originally came out, this is before I knew Jed. I gave season 1 an 8.1.
Really?
After reading books, after looking at everything, I would, if I was to score it right now, and I just went through my normal scoring that I do for my channel, I would give season 1 a 5.2. The rest of them, season 2 would be a 3, and this season is a flat out 0.
Oh, this season was atrocious.
For me to give a 0 is next to impossible. Velma got a 1. This is a 0.
Yeah.
I didn't even give an official score at the end of my Volume 2 review. I said, there's no point in giving a review. Is there such a thing as negative points? Like, there's no point in me scoring it. It's
that bad.
I think there's no point in scoring any of the shit anyway. Like, we're here together to like discuss the shit, and I think that's what's important. But like giving it scores or reviewing it, like telling people like, no, fuck off. I don't even care anymore.
I would say my score is dead on arrival. It's DOA. That's it.
That's a good score.
Yeah.
But I think if anybody wants to know, should I watch this? No, it's dead on arrival. I don't really think there'll be a season 4.
I hope not. But the positive thing that I want to take out of all of this is several people have said, I hate this season, but I love its like with the potential of the universe, so I'm going to pick up the books now. there's a lot of people that I've seen even in my own personal life who are like, I'm going to read the books now. I'm going to play the games now. So that is one positive to come out of how bad Netflix is. I mean, it would have happened anyway. If the show were good, people would be doing that as well. But at least I can glean some positivity out of it. And that's what I recommend to everyone in the chat and everyone on this panel who hasn't read the books, hasn't read the games, is they're amazing. Besides Doctor Who, this is my favorite franchise, bar none.
Yeah.
I enjoy it more than Lord of the Rings books. Lord of the Rings books are obviously better written, but I enjoy The Witcher more. And I think there's a lot of greatness for people that people should check out. And I've actually done a review panel. Well, not a review panel, a discussion panel on the very first book, The Last Wish. And as soon as I can get Lady B to finish Sword of Destiny, we'll be doing Sword of Destiny. And Anna, of course, you're welcome on that once we schedule that at some point. But that's why I want to do those streams, is to talk about The Witcher I love, talk about this franchise that had so much potential. If they actually followed the books, if they, like we talked about, Adam, started out episodic and went serial, this could have been on par with Game of Thrones. It could have been the Game of Thrones size that they wanted. Could have been everything that they wanted. It could have been everything I wanted. And they screwed it all up because their priorities were so out of whack. If it was just accuracy, just make that your number one priority, it could have easily become the biggest fantasy show of the last decade. I think if they had landed the adaptation aspect accurately, it could have far outdwarfed Game of Thrones in the end.
It would have made Netflix number one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's
Netflix's biggest problem, though, and we've all said it, they don't know how to do a water cooler show.
It's true. That's
and for you kiddies out there, water cooler means every Friday at this time it drops, so that you have the weekend and then Monday and the rest of that week talking about the episode.
Not at this time, like 2 hours prior now.
Yeah, well,
we've complained about things dropping at this time. It's like, why is it dropping at 11 p.m.?
It's too late.
No, I'm saying dropping on a Friday. Drop
on
it
a
at
certain time.
Yeah,
on a certain time, not on this time, Adam. But
I mean, Dallas used to drop at 9 o'clock Eastern, and they made it. Yeah, and they made it so that it dropped at each one of the time zones the same way. You could not get Dallas early.
Yep, and that's what that's the problem with the binge model. I love to engage with the binge model. Like I like binging shows, but is unequivocally more beneficial to a show's lifespan and relevancy if it's in a weekly model.
And it's beneficial to us
Very beneficial
as discussion panels, reviewers. Again,
I would have to put out 2 40-minute reviews.
I love to do nothing more than to watch a show from beginning to end without stopping. I love to do that. It's very bad for my health because I'm up for wee hours in the morning if I start in the afternoon for whatever reason. But since becoming a YouTuber and a reviewer who's a YouTuber, God damn it, no, don't give me episodes at once. I need that weekly because it's guaranteed content, but two, the needle. The needle movement is important because the discussion will wane and wax, and then when something happens, okay, yeah, now I've talked in a review, but now we can carry it over to a stream, and I can bring more people in it than just my dumbass talking about it for 44 minutes. So again, I'm exactly where you are. Personal life, I'll binge all I want. That's what I do with anime. I'll binge anime because I'm not reviewing anime on a weekly basis. But this stuff, weekly, please. That's why, and it's annoying too if they drop. What they're going to do with freaking Ahsoka in 3 weeks. It's going to be 2 episodes on one night. So great. So now I have to do an extra long review session. Oh, he just disconnected. He'll go out and come back in. Oh no, that was Ryan.
Yeah, he's got pattern.
Oh, potato. Oh, yeah, he's got potato in it. I thought it was you for thinking like what happened.
Yeah.
To him. Sorry, you changed icons on me, so it took a minute to realize you're still here. I hate it when you do that. It's the situation of now instead of making 2 reviews, I have to combine 2 episodes into 1 review and hope that people will stick around for the extra long review. And it's like screw you, Disney, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, for a lot of
Well, here's the other thing about episodic. It gives you a whole week to remember it.
Oh no, the gorilla is back. I'm sorry, Scott. You're a gorilla again.
Well, I don't mean. Well, I would say I'm not. It's not. I don't feel like the episodic debate falls in that. I just mean, like, don't put all the episodes at once. These are all going to be serialized. What we're going to keep reviewing from now until Turnium. Just give me the week's episode. Don't give me I mean, perfect example. This is why Cobra Kai, as great as it is, catches fire and then burns down instantly because they dump it all in 1 week.
Yep.
We're all done. Well, we're not all done. We all go like this for a week because everybody's like, I haven't seen it yet. Don't spoil it. So then by the time we can talk about it, nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
The binge model was a cute thing that Netflix tried, but I would say it's a failure of an experiment.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, this is a good point to wrap up. We just hit the 3.5 hour mark, so we can bring it to a close. I don't have any more thoughts on The Witcher that I care to talk about. I have enough to fill up a 30 hours.
I made so many notes, like just like watching it, and I don't even want to go through them. Like
no, it's soul draining. It really is. I care about this too much. But let's go around the horn and we'll do initial final thoughts, and then we'll go around a second time for plugging and whatnot. So Anna, do you have any final thoughts you want to add? Scenes, characters, or just overall thoughts? Any final things you want to add?
Little horse, my favorite. That's all I'm gonna say. Little horse.
Okay, perfect. And what about you, Adam? The Witcher thespian that you are.
Well, you will say go read the books first. I'll say go play the games.
Absolutely.
Play the games. Just go play games.
Hey,
and
Adam,
I say start at the beginning. Go to the first one. Work your way through.
Yeah, Adam, go finish the games.
I finished the main storyline of 3. I'll get to the DLC in my damn time.
You gotta do Blood and Wine.
Yes.
When I'm damn good and ready. You want me to enjoy it, don't you?
It's very relevant in the algorithm.
But I'm not in the mood.
The greatest video game.
Moods are for.
You're never in the mood.
I'm not going to finish the Lion Mustang. You have to finish it on your own.
Oh no, I'll let the chat do it.
Whatever.
All right. Well,
lazy.
Speaking of Mustang, do you have any final thoughts before your sanity slips away entirely?
Honestly, no. I've memory hold the entire thing again, and I've got that great ability.
I'm jealous of your ability to memory hold. This dude read a short story like 7 times and still can't tell me what happened in it.
No, I can't.
And I remember every goddamn thing of everything.
Hold on. I can tell you almost everything in it except for one section. And I memory hold that one to hell and God.
Oh,
That's just bad.
Well, Ryan, are you still having issues, or are you good to give final thoughts?
No. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but StreamYard freaked out on me. It booted me out, but I could still hear you guys.
It did that to Mustang. 3 times this week.
Yeah, so I could still hear you guys, but I was not. I was on the Twitter DM. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm gonna head over to Vets Talking, and then tomorrow, myself, Adam the Renaissance Nerd, and Samuel the Infamous, we're gonna be doing Star Trek Engage. We're gonna be doing the original series. We're gonna be doing the Cage, and then if we can get by the gay jokes, we're going to be doing the Man Trap.
We're gonna get there. And the Man Trap, surprisingly, not gay.
Even though it doesn't help the gay cause.
Yeah, surprisingly not gay at all.
So
that's what who hate the Cage, but I really like the Cage.
So that's what I got coming up. But yeah, no, StreamYards again, of course, being weird. What else is new?
Perfect. Well, I know Rachel, you have some final thoughts that you want to give. She's been taking notes on her final thoughts here, so she has a prepared statement.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, I've been taking notes throughout this whole thing on my phone. But at this point, after more than 3.5 hours, I'm so freaking done.
I'm about to say
I don't give a shit about this show anymore.
I'm about to say that's a lot of paragraph to say I don't give a shit.
I really don't. But I guess at least one of us should give final thoughts instead of saying this sucks. So I'll try to sum up.
Does don't watch it work?
About building an ensemble cast, and I think that's an interesting point of view, and to tie it back into the the article that everyone was screenshotting and putting on Twitter before, saying, "Oh my God, it's done! Hooray! Everybody celebrate!" Like I had a couple ideas of, like reasons why they do that. One of them is just like, when you have a huge cast, it creates so much movement and so much like breaks between character stories, having to jump around. And I think part of it is just from a cinematography point, to confuse the audience so much that it kind of hides the fact that they don't have a story, they don't have a cohesive plot, they don't have characters who have arcs or who can even act. So I think that's part of it. And then another one is like it also allows the an introduction of all the characters that could potentially be in, whatever we said, like 10 seasons would need to fill it out. But they're also, I think, coming at it from this idea of they know they're not going to get 5 seasons, probably not even 4 seasons out of it. So they shove everything they can into it. And even though it destroys the plot, it destroys the characters, they can at least say, oh, hey, we tried and we know it's going to fail. So then we can just quickly move on to other projects. All the actors can move on to other projects. All the producers, all the directors, all the writers can move on to other projects. Yeah, so again, they're going in, they know it's going to be canceled. So I think even though we all got really excited and they're really disappointed that this article that we saw before is, totally bunked, I think there is a strong possibility that we won't get a season 4 anyway. I've been thinking that for a very long time now. I continuously say if season 4 happens or if season 5 happens. But yeah, again, I think they're just going in knowing it's going to be canceled, and then they'll just act surprised. And then the other one, I'm just going to skip all the rest of them. But because I'm so tired, I think we all are. The other one, like we were talking about, just that ending scene. I don't know if you have it up anymore, but that ending scene of Geralt walking away, trying to figure out how are they going to fit that into the multiverse. My guess is again, if season 4 happens, it's just going to have that multiverse crap thrown out the window. And instead they're just going to do the whole thing like they set up with the fake Ciri of like going at it from the background, like from behind Geralt's head, doing as much as they can, maybe like a line about Roach. Maybe Jaskier comes in and be like, oh, hey, Geralt. They're just going to throw so much casual shit at the audience's face to make you think it is Geralt and get into this mindset. And then they're going to flip the camera around and be like, oh, hey, by the way, it's Liam. I think that's what they're going to end up doing.
I think you're so right.
Multiverse crap.
Darn it.
Jed, can we have a Hollywood Scholar
I
as Rachel from now on? Can we
Huh?
Can we have Rachel as
Rachel,
Hollywood Scholar from now on?
She's on the team. She's a Hollywood Scholar.
I think she's 100% right. They're gonna do that exact crap.
Oh yeah.
It's so terrible.
They basically already set it up by doing that with fake Ciri of all of that stuff and then panning the camera on. I think they're gonna do that again with Geralt, like right at the start.
Yeah. Just have Vilga Forts or someone use the spell, transfer Geralt's mind into someone else.
Oh, fuck. I quit. I quit.
I'm there.
All in all, fingers crossed season 4 doesn't happen and we don't have to do this again. We could all just get together at a good panel and watch something really good.
Good. Yeah.
Like Velma season 2?
About Mission Impossible.
After I see it.
Perfect. Well, those were great final thoughts. My final thoughts will echo everybody else's. I have no prepared ones. It's shit. It is terrible. I know I'm more biased than most people watching season 3. I just love the books and the games so much. I admit there is biasy there, but I still think it's one of the most horrendously written, directed, acted, designed shows ever created. So that's where my thoughts will end and where we will bring this stream to a close. So Ryan, he already plugged all the stuff, but the rest of you, Anna, is there anything that you would like to plug for your channel?
No, not at all. I'm totally cool. I'm dead. I'm brain dead.
She's like, I'm over it.
Yeah, I don't even want to plug anything, to be honest.
Fair.
I'm good.
All right.
No, but I want to thank both you and Rachel for doing this, and everybody else, Adam, Brian, Scott.
Yeah, no, this is I would. It's fun hanging out with y'all, but going over this is not, unfortunately. So let's do it again sometime.
Do something good.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's coming out.
That's all. Oh, well, that's all me. I got that one covered. Don't worry.
I know.
Will you
I got
host
it,
review panels? I'm not going to actually make reviews on it, but if you want to do it in Mordor Country, I'll watch it for that.
I don't know if I'll go that far. I mean, I'll get my review out. We'll bitch about it on stream, but then I don't know if I'm going to do a whole. No.
I'm good.
No, hold on. Mordor Country, I'd be in for that one too.
Mordor Country special. The Rings of
That's
Power is
special.
special. That's special. That's special torture.
God. Rings of Power.
What about you, Mustang? What's the old movie review that you're working on right now?
Hobbit will be coming out Monday. That's Rankin Bass.
Mhm.
I've got MASH cooking. Plus, I've got the Ants and the Entwives for your channel that I'm working on.
It's very, very true. I still got to finish Eowyn. That's going to be a lore video coming to Hollywood Scholar very soon, where Mustang did all the research for me, and I just have to do the rest of it. So, yeah, stay tuned to those. And, of course, my life partner, Adam.
All right.
Okay, Gurmy.
All right, so tomorrow is Roundtable, 2 p.m. Eastern. The box office continues. Barbenheimer, Barbie. I may be proven wrong in all my theories coming this week. We'll talk about that tomorrow, among a few other things. Really, a lot didn't happen this week, so it's going to be a weird show. It was just all Barbie, sucking all the oxygen in the room, and all the intelligence of a lot of people. Either way, got that. Mellow Mondays on Monday. You never know what's going to happen there. Reviews, takes throughout the week. Jed, but per our discussion here tonight, I have decided on next week's movie. I know I said I would take a little longer. If you could zoom in, full screen me, please.
Oh, show and tell.
Yeah, show and tell, because I got it right here. Next week on Saturday Night Drive-In, I've chosen a particularly interesting movie, a favorite of mine. I've seen it many times. Hell, I own it. I don't know if Jed has seen it, but I said I want the knife. The Golden Child, starring one Eddie Murphy and one Charles Dance. So that's our movie next weekend. The Golden Child. It's an Eddie Murphy classic. It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to be honest. I've never even heard of this movie.
Oh,
damn.
you are
Wow.
in for a
What's wrong with
treat,
you?
dude. You are in for a treat. This is one of those movies like Fifth Element where I walked into it having no idea what was about to happen and walked out with a giant smile on my face.
Yeah, it's a great film.
This
Yeah,
is it's
No.
good stuff. Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, so The Golden Child next
It'll be
Saturday
a nice
night.
palate cleanser.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I need it.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. It's just, this is Eddie Murphy in his prime.
Yep.
He could do little action. His timing is so perfect. I don't want to ruin the jokes. Good to get the wang up. Well, my wang's fine. I'm fine. Good to get the wang up. This is great. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. And then of course, next Friday, and of course tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big piece of game for me. I'll be with Ryan and Devil and Alf and Hijabi Gamer and Samuel. We are boldly going, or my clone is boldly going. At least for TOS, it's my clones. They're all clones. It's not really me. It's all clones.
He's a red shirt. That's why.
I'm the red shirt. So here's the game. How long will a clone last? That's the game I'm going to play. How long will a clone last between episodes? So that's fun. But then, of course, after Engage is over, after Roundtable, after Engage tomorrow, then I'm going to be on Devil's channel, Beelzebub, for Get Ranked, ranking hottest cartoon babes in the 1980s and 90s. So,
that seems like a stream made for you.
Yeah.
You gotta send him your food wars.
And Dermy's not going to be there. Dermy's not going to be there, so we're pretty much guaranteed a struggle session.
Yes, a 4 a.m. struggle session.
You're not guaranteed. It's happening.
It's happening. We already know it's happening because he's upset that Raven from Teen Titans isn't on there. So he's already upset about that. So struggle session will happen.
God.
Raven isn't even in the running for 70s, 80s, or 90s.
No, not 70s, just 80s and 90s. Not 70s.
Okay, she's definitely not in the running. Not even close.
Yeah. So
listen, what year did the Smurfs come out?
70s?
Was it that?
Which one? The TV show?
The animated TV series.
Late 80s, I believe.
There's no movies.
No, it was mid 80s. It was mid 80s.
Well, that still counts. So Smurfette's got to be on that list.
Dude, don't be a dermy. Don't be a dermy. That's not healthy. That's not healthy.
Hold on.
I've been resisting dermy jokes for an hour. Okay, so I'm getting it all done here. Anyway, yeah. So join. I'll be across the board tomorrow. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be busy. I don't know when I'm gonna eat dinner, but I'll find a way. So thanks, Jed, for wasting my entire evening tonight.
You're welcome. And you wasted, most of your day. What was it, Wednesday too, watching Volume 1?
Yeah.
You watched more Witcher this week than any of us.
And look, I'm fine. And Dermy's a pussy.
Why are you twitching?
Respect.
Anyway, all right. So thanks. That's it. Subscribe.
Perfect.
Subscribe to the channel.
All right. For here on Hollywood Scholar, this next week, as soon as I can edit them out, there'll probably be some clips from the stream, especially the stuff at the beginning with the season 4 delays or whatnot. But as soon as I can get time to edit them, there will also be the episode watch-alongs where I watch the episodes of Volume 2 with everyone here as well.
Oh my God.
I just need to edit for copyright. It takes a little bit of time to edit for copyright, so I'll get those up as soon as I can. And then a bunch of other Witcher stuff, because there's a lot of Witcher news going on right now, and I hope to God it actually gets canceled this week, but the algorithm is still relevant for The Witcher and any other videos of relevant news and lore that I can get around to. But that's all that I have for today. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the chat, JB, Biggles, and Legatus, the ever-faithful mod, and everybody else who just sat back and watched. And thank you, of course, to the panel. You all are always great to have you guys. And that's all I have for today. So I will see you guys all on the next stream. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, yo, are you feeling what I'm doing up in here? Oh, I know you are. Do you miss all the good, compelling stories that we used to get back in Hollywood that they ain't putting down no more? Oh, I know you missing it. So check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues, baby. Book 1, Down in Flames. Book 2, Apocalypse Then. These are currently on sale. What are you waiting for? Get your hands on them. And we got Book 3, Kill the Dark, is coming down the pipeline. Just wait for all the good stuff that's dropping. You ain't gonna be disappointed, fam.